Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
Listen, Travis Hunter wants to play both ways in the NFL, and he wants to do it on a full-time schedule. I'm not letting that happen if I draft him. Welcome to the show, Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. Bro, I'm not trying to be Debbie Downer here. I'm not trying to ruin the fun, ruin the party. But I am trying to get the most out of a guy who's probably going to be drafted in the top 5, maybe top 3. And I'm not messing around because he wants to do something that no one's ever done before. I'm not going to risk the injury. And that doesn't, to me, signify that I'm like coaching scared or playing scared or, approaching this thing in the wrong way. I think it's just smart. You want to have a couple gadget plays in there. You want to have a couple plays. That's fine. But I need this guy as a cornerback first and foremost, and I need him to be one of the elite ones in the league. That's what I'm drafting him for, period, end of story. You want to ring around the rosy or do Philly special or some kind of weirdo thing, fine. But I'm not having him full-time at receiver, no shot.
I mean, he wouldn't fit in a Philly special,
I
which
know,
is a corner.
I was just
but I know
thinking about
what
trick
is.
plays.
Look at the teams that are at the top of the draft. We're talking about Travis Hunter, 1, 2, 3, 4, no lower than 5. They all need they basically all need cornerbacks and wide receivers. Think of the New York Giants. They should play him at cornerback, wide receiver, line him up at quarterback. He should punt. He should play every position. He would immediately be the best player at every position. What's the point of taking him in the top 3 if you're not going to try some kind of dual role? Like, that's the point of Travis Hunter. He's the only guy who ever did it at this level in college since Jim Thorpe or something. So I just think that the teams that are looking at him, like they need to take that risk on the injury and just double down. Otherwise, like, you're not taking a cornerback number 2. That's just not going to happen. So you're just going to pass on him.
No,
and he's not good enough to be the number 2 pick as a wide receiver. So I would say don't take him if you don't want to do a dual thing.
Okay, this is what I think about it. I think when you're talking about corner versus wide receiver, the gap between a top corner, like the top 2 or 3 corners in the league, and like the 20th corner of the league, I think is much bigger than the top wide receiver and the 20th wide receiver. You know what I'm saying? So if I can get somebody who's elite at corner, what that does and how that can influence my football team, I think is much bigger than having the 20th or 25th best wide receiver, or even maybe lower than that. So when I'm talking about a skill set and what do I actually want to get out of this person, we watched it when he was playing at Colorado, and anyone can see, you don't have to be a scout. His ball skills are elite because he has this wide receiver background. It's like he's playing wide receiver as corner out there. It's so dangerous, and that's what I want. I want elite. I want the Derek Stingley. I want the guy who's at so far at the top, right? Like, right. I want Revis. I want someone like that, Dion, maybe, that I'm not going to mess around and say, oh, and I also have to shoehorn him into this other thing because, he has this skill set. Doesn't mean I have to use it. I'm not going to say exploit it. It doesn't mean I have to use it in a full-time basis.
Yeah, I actually disagree with the state of the game right now. I think wide receiver is more valuable because the market is bearing that, like, way more valuable. The highest paid receiver is Justin Jefferson, around 35. The highest paid cornerbacks are Jalen Ramsey and Surtain at 24. Like, that's a big percentage. That's $11 million more per year. I think everything you're saying about a cornerback, like a Justin Jefferson, affects every play because you have to double team him. So you're taking out 2 defenders. You're saying a cornerback, you only have to put 1-on-1, and then you can use those players to pass rush. But you need like 3 cornerbacks now. Look at the Eagles. They drafted Quinyon Mitchell, Cooper DeJean, and they still had Slay. Like, you need like 3 or 4 cornerbacks. So I don't think at cornerback he can have that much of an impact. Say he goes to the Giants at cornerback, he doesn't improve their win total at all. Like maybe half a game.
They have Malik Neighbors, and it didn't include their win total. Like, yeah. You could say the same thing about receiver. I watched Brian Thomas with the Jags. Everyone knows he's a good receiver. Did he impact their win total? Absolutely not. I mean, if you want to go global, the one thing that really impacts your win total is obviously your quarterback. So, but the teams that will be taking him clearly already have that. Yeah. So, I'm talking about a guy who I understand why he wants to do it. And I understand He'll say, listen, I did it in college. I did it in high school. I've done it at every level. Well, the Big 12 is not the NFL. And I respect the Big 12, but even they would tell you that.
Well, I mean,
it's a much different level.
Everybody in this draft did not play NFL football. Even the SEC now is not the NFL. So I don't think you can use that argument. You have to project.
No, but I'm just saying the way he's able to play defense against the Big 12 is not going to be, and play offense is not going to be the same thing on either side of the ball that he's seeing in the NFL.
Right, but no, same with every other player in this draft. Nobody's seen NFL action. Like, you have to, that's my point. Like, I'm saying, you're saying the Big 12 is weak compared to the SEC and the Big 10?
I'm saying that the Big 12 is weak compared to the NFL. And all those other people you're talking about, no one's trying to pull off something that's unprecedented like he wants to do. Now, listen, is he going to say, he has actually said, don't draft me unless you don't want to use me. And Deion has even said he'll get involved if a team drafts him and I guess like doesn't have the right kind of plan. I don't know how he would know that beforehand. But Deion said he's going to get involved. They are really pushing this thing. And to be honest, and I know this is going to sound a little controversial, and I don't mean it to sound like a personal attack, but when you are so much about what you want to do on the football field, it can come off as sounding a little selfish. Like, how about what the team wants you to do, Rook? You know, and I love Travis Hunter, so I hate saying this kind of thing, like, to be disparaging. But you're calling your shot about what you're going to do in the NFL when you have never even been to an NFL training camp practice? What world are we in? And by the way, we would criticize other people if they said that, would we not?
Did we criticize Eli a lot when he actually? I'm actually asking.
I think Eli was criticized.
I thought a lot of people were like, I understand the Chargers seem like a mess.
I think Eli, and the fact is Eli didn't start right away. Eli, I'm not saying criticizing about manipulating your way to a team. I'm saying we would criticize, I think, somebody who came in and said, if you don't let me do this thing I want to do, then don't draft me.
God, I feel the exact opposite. I feel like players are in this really draconian draft system that makes no sense. I think someone should sue the league.
Right, well,
I think the players should have the power.
We don't have time for that today. Okay?
I'm just saying, no, he should dictate exactly where he wants to go and what he wants to do. Well, it's the same issue. Okay, don't go to a team that's going to stick you on an island. Like, you go to a team that wants to use you. I absolutely understand what Travis Hunter is saying.
Okay, but, like blowing up the draft and doing that's a whole other conversation.
My point is, like, the players should dictate exactly where they go and what they do. Like, they have every right. Like, if you were applying for a job and they said, I want you to do this job, you would have every right to say, no, I want to go here and do this job. Like, why do football players not have any say in that?
Because there's a coach and a general manager. There's a pecking order. So if I say, I want to come work at this company and I want to come over and take over as the CEO on my first day on the job, they'd be like, no, thanks.
Yeah, but what if you're a quarterback and there's a team at number 2 who's like, we want to run Arthur Smith, the Steelers offense. We want to run his offense. That quarterback has every right to say, no, I don't want to do that. I want to go over here with Cliff Kingsbury. Like, I think the players have every right to say, I want to be in this system. I want to be used like this. I don't know why they wouldn't have that right.
Okay, but don't you have to earn some of that power?
No.
Why
not? You're a draft because you're being forced to go to this team. I think, like, quarterbacks and wide receivers, they don't need to earn that. They should say, I know this is not a good team. I don't want to go there. I think that players should have that right.
Okay, well, then you're talking about someone coming in and literally blowing up the system, not Eli Manning once upon a time in 2004. You're talking about so Abdul Carter should say, I only want to go here. Yeah. And every single person should say that. But, Pearl, we're like, let's live in reality.
Well,
That's not happening.
I think the agent, and in this case, the Deion Sanders, a coach, can tell teams. I'm not saying you have to blow up the whole system. Just, like, get the word out. I don't want to play one way or the other. I think that, say, for example, Cam Ward didn't want to go to Tennessee.
Yeah.
Like, his agent has every right to call the team and say, like, hey, we really don't want to go here. Let us fall. I have no problem with that.
Yeah, Kobe Bryant did it, right? Yeah. His agent said, don't draft him, and they didn't do it. But
why can't Travis Hunter call and say, hey, I want to play both ways. Don't draft me. I think he has every right to do that.
Well, I think that he does not, because he has no clue what it would be like to play a full-time schedule, which is what he wants to do on offense and defense. Over 700 snaps on the offensive and defensive side at Colorado last year. I don't think that in this case, with a sport as brutal, the fact that he has gotten hurt before in college, I don't think that you can come in and start making demands like that. Because here's the thing. He's not saying it's a quarterback with a certain system, or you don't want to go to the Cleveland Browns because that's where quarterbacks go to die. That's a different thing. He's saying specifically, I want you to let me do this thing I've never done before. And why I'm so shocked to hear you back him is because you are so against this for Shohei Ohtani. And Shohei Ohtani came in, pitched and hit. You hate it. You say he cannot do this moving forward. He has to be a hitter, give up the pipe dream of pitching. And by the way, what's happened to Ohtani? He's been an otherworldly player who's gotten hurt all the time,
Right.
and that's baseball, which isn't even a contact sport.
Well, because you know that a pitcher is going to tear his elbow, and he keeps on doing it, right?
And I don't know that football players are not going to tear their ACLs.
Travis Hunter is a cornerback and a wide receiver. First of all, he's never going to tackle anyone, so that's off the table. He's in a low.
I love your absolutes here.
Yeah,
put him out there.
like,
It's not a 7-on-7 drill, Pearl. It's
he's
the
a
NFL.
quarterback. He's not like you think these guys are tackling. If they want Travis Hunter to tackle, then the coach doesn't know what he's doing. So he's just going to be a cornerback, and he's going to be a wide receiver. He'll get 8 targets a game. He can survive this. It's not so crazy to play him both ways. He's not a linebacker and a running back. He'll be fine.
You don't think that wide receivers and corners ever get hurt?
They
never
get hurt, but they certainly are not like the injury risk. Like it's not like he's a linebacker where he's taking contact on every play. It's not, and also too, just the actual physical brutality of it. I don't know. You see, take a play off
I saw
or
Justin
two.
Jefferson miss games last season. I saw Brandon Ayuk miss the entire year. I've seen guys, wide receivers, go down all the time.
Right.
Keon Coleman missed games this year for my Bills. You want to go down the list. Guys miss games constantly. Derek Stingley, one of the best cornerbacks, has definitely dealt with injuries. That you are in a fantasy land, man.
No, but I don't think it's as physically demanding a spot. Like it's pretty clean. Like especially the way Travis Hunter will probably play cornerback. You think he's a tough kid. He probably will try and tackle, but if the coach is smart, say don't even get in there. Just play cornerback. Honestly, I think of the Giants at number 3, who it would make all the sense in the world. They really need some zhuzh. Like he would elevate both units because he'd be opposite Malik Neighbors, so you would have a lot of double teams, get a lot of one-on-one coverage at wide receiver. And just use him. You don't have to have him get in on every play. It'd be amazing.
But that's the thing though. He wants to be full time both ways.
No, I mean like he can play cornerback, but just like keep him back. Like never have him touch the run play. Like even keep him off a first down if you want. I'm saying like you could do this effectively. Do you think he'd be tired? I don't think that's an issue.
I don't think it's not tired. Well, it might be tired.
You're saying too many reps and he'll have a non-contact injury?
I think it's just you're asking someone to be on the field for double the amount of time. I would imagine you're almost like doubling your chance of injury. I don't know if this is some girl math, but you're exposing yourself to a lot more injury. And whether it's the fluke, non-contact stuff, no one can predict. But just playing football, guys get hurt all the time.
So if you're, let's keep on, say the Giants at number 3. Would you take Travis Hunter there?
I would, but I don't want. I want to use them the way I want to use them. Is what I'm saying. And
so would you take him as a one-way wide receiver or a one-way cornerback?
One-way corner
At number 3.
Yeah.
Oof.
Listen, what do I have? I have Abdul Carter with a potentially chronic foot injury. And by the way, I already have a lot of, if we're just talking about the Giants specifically, I have a lot of defensive linemen. I've invested there. I've got Dexter Lawrence, and I've got Kayvon Thibodeau, and I've got Brian Burns. Yeah, I feel like I could take a corner. They need a quarterback.
Corner.
That's totally different.
If the Giants take a cornerback at number 3 in this draft, like say it was a pure cornerback, that would be a travesty. Like they need offensive linemen and defensive linemen. Like take a left tackle if you're just going to take a one-way guy.
Well, you brought up the Giants. I don't know.
I'm just saying,
where do you want to slot them in?
My Travis Hunter's value falls tremendously if he's a one-way player.
855-212-4227. All right, let us know what you think. Can he play both sides of the ball in a full-time schedule? We're not talking about what Deion did. Deion did this kind of perfectly. And by the way, Travis Hunter.
No. Deion was transitioning between baseball and football all year long. Like Deion was did not maximize his value for a long, long time.
As I was just talking about the football side. He would be on punt returns and kick returns and was electric, which Travis Hunter, by the way, said he does not want to do specialty.
No.
He said, if I'm going to do offense and defense, that's two things.
And Deion did line up on offense, too.
But memorably in the Super Bowl against the Pittsburgh Steelers, right? And that was probably the most famous offensive play that he had, maybe. But anyway, not all the time. It was here and there, very sparingly.
Yeah, honestly, you're going to need to get more out of Travis Hunter than the teams got out of Deion. Because Deion also, wandered a lot. Travis Hunter, if you're taking him this high, which I think he will go, you need him to play both ways, and you need him to be the face of your franchise, from day one.
Can Travis Hunter be successful playing a full-time schedule on the offensive side and the defensive side? 855-212-4227. That's what we do to get it started off today. Hello. Maggie and Perloff show on this Friday. Again, 855-212-4227. We say good morning to our Infinity Sports Network affiliates. we've got a lot of news from the Combine. Perloff will give us his 3 observations from the, what'd you say, 8 hours of TV that you watched yesterday?
Yeah, it's funny because the Combine, the workouts weren't so great yesterday, but I'm starting to become fascinated with the sort of media scrum around the Combine now. It's become, the media has become the story because a lot of the great players aren't working out anymore. Like, you're not going to see Shador Sanders or Cam Ward throw. So Daniel Jeremiah and Rich Eisen have to sit there and talk.
And vamp.
And, yeah, and they had to vamp, and then the insiders are going bananas here. This is a wild week in Indy, not only with actual between the insiders, but like the rumors that are getting thrown out there are very, very juicy.
We do also have a Matthew Stafford update for you about the Raiders and Stafford. Lots to do, but we get it going with Travis Hunter. Can he be successful if he's playing on both sides of the ball in a full-time capacity? 855-212-4227.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. 45 seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back, Maggie Perloff Show. So basically, the way the morning is setting up, I'm all about fun and seeing Travis Hunter play every single play, maybe even punt the ball. Maggie is she wants to see him be a shutdown corner because there's so many great highlights of shutdown corners. We have the most exciting Heisman Trophy winner to come into the league since, well, last year in Jaden Daniels. But we have this exciting guy. Why would you want to see him play quarterback? Just as would you admit, as a fan, you want to see him play both ways?
As a fan, fine, but I still feel like I can scratch that itch on some fun plays, trick plays here and there. It doesn't have to be a full-time schedule on offense. And I'll tell you what, I'd give my left arm right now for a shutdown corner. As a fan.
Yes, but you draft 29th.
Well, I know as a Bills fan, I'm just saying, getting a shutdown corner to me in the draft for your favorite team is almost a little like getting an offensive lineman. You're like, no.
Wow, Jaden Daniels.
Am I going to get... Is it going to be the highlight? No, but is this going to actually contribute to me winning? Yes.
Yeah,
yes, it absolutely will.
But the game has definitely changed. Like, cornerbacks are not going high anymore because you need like 4 of them. That's the problem because NFL sort of adjusted to the Darrelle Revis thing. Darrelle Revis thing. And now you can just avoid a shutdown corner. So their value is kind of fallen where it's funny. Wide receiver, there's so many coming to the league and the pay just keeps going up and up. And I get it because you watch the Bengals and when Jamar Chase is on the field, like everybody's watching him on every play, so they can have a big impact. You got it. Come on, just for fun, Maggie. You got to lay off this. You got to let Travis play both spots. And I know it's up to you.
Yeah, I know. And I would say the same thing to you. Let Shohei Ohtani pitch. You're very much against Shohei pitching, yet for some reason you want Travis Hunter to go get his head knocked off.
Well, there's no comparison. Pitchers are guaranteed to get hurt.
Yeah, football players never get hurt.
Not like pitchers. Pitchers, if a pitcher comes to the league, like you're just waiting, like just give him preemptive Tommy John. Like they all get hurt now.
Listen, Shohei can get hurt and still play. That's the difference between baseball players and football players. If Travis Hunter gets hurt, he's not playing either side. I watched Shohei with one arm playing in the World Series. He's still in the lineup.
Then that's a model that's worked a lot. Baseball players can get hurt and still play. Just be Shohei is the one guy.
I know. Let's go to the phones. 855-212-4227. We're asking, can Travis Hunter be successful if he's playing full-time 2 ways, offense and defense? Kenny's in Dallas. Good morning, Kenny. What's up?
Hey, good morning. Maggie, this is for you.
Yeah.
You're asking the question if he can be successful, but the way you talk, you never get to find out. You don't get to break barriers if you don't ever push the envelope, which is why we have mobile quarterbacks and we said that didn't work. That's why we have Devo playing a wide receiver position, the way he plays it as a running back, because we pushed the envelope. And then Perloff gives the perfect illustration, and you hijacked it by changing it. He says if you go to your job, you should be able to pick what you do at your job, and you turned it into, well, I shouldn't be able to go be the CEO. Travis is not trying to be the coach. He's not trying to be the GM.
Yes, he is. He absolutely is.
To say it, like you.
Wait, Kenny, if you're saying I want to play both ways on both sides of the ball, how is that not acting as your own GM and coach? You are calling your shots.
Because that is a position. He's trying to do. You can do the same thing at your job. You could be dual task at your job, and it is okay, Maggie, to say, hey, maybe I was wrong, or hey, you got a good point, but he has a good illustration. He sort of shuts me down as a listener to hear the rest of what you were trying to say.
Wait, but Kenny, hold on. If you go to your boss, though, Kenny, if this is real life, if you go to your boss and you say, I want to do X, it's day one, by the way. You've never even been at the company. So you're telling your future boss, I want to do X, Y, and Z. And if they say, Well, no, we're gonna wait and see how this goes. We want to see how you acclimate to our company before we let you call the shots. That you think that's wrong? That if you were the boss, you would say, who is this person who's coming in and telling me how this thing runs when they've never done it for one snap?
Let me answer your question then.
Yeah.
Travis Hunter, if I tried to come into a job and I did that day one trying to interview, guess what? I can say no to that job and go to another one. That's what Travis Hunter's trying to do. So once again, you got a point. Maybe I wasn't thinking about that. It's okay.
No, Kenny, believe me, if I'm wrong, I admit that I'm wrong.
Yeah.
I'm not wrong on this one. That's where you and I disagree. I think I'm absolutely right on this one. And here's the thing, though. I love when people try to say about our jobs and us in the real world versus the NFL. It's not the same because Travis Hunter can't say, you know what, I'm going to go pick up and I'm going to go play at the XFL. I'm going to play in the AFL. I'm going to do that. It's the system. I can go and try to work for ESPN Radio. I can go to Sirius XM. I don't want to. I love it here. But yes, in theory, I could go do that to find something. Travis Hunter, was he going to work his way through 32 NFL teams before he finds the right fit? Newsflash, man, it may not happen. And by the way, a team could tell you, we'll let you play both ways, and then you get there and they say no. Like, teams can change their mind. You have to be flexible. And I think Kenny and you, Pearl, you guys aren't being flexible here.
Well, let me just state off the bat that Kenny is brilliant, and I feel like he should be running the Cowboys in Dallas because he agrees with me. Yeah, I do think in real life, because actually my wife's going through this right now, like you do when you get hired somewhere, like it's really important from day one, like you have to set the role that you're doing. Like, because sometimes the bosses are going to be like, I want you to do this. You got to be like, listen, you hired me to do this. This is my job. And if you didn't want me to do that, then I would have gone work somewhere else. Like, yeah, like for example, like if they brought me in and said, you're going to do this. And I'm like, well, no. I don't want to do this. I'll go to this other place around the corner. Like if they wanted me to do IT, I'd be like, I can't do IT.
Right.
I mean, maybe that's too much of a stretch. But no, he has every right. And I do think like players should be more empowered coming to this draft process. The draft process to me has always been ridiculous. Like what other job on earth, or do you have to go to, you have no choice but to go to, say you don't want to go to Seattle. The NFL, the draft system is so weird.
Okay, but you're talking about something like much, much, much bigger.
It's not much bigger. I'd say the players should be empowered to determine their roles. They definitely should.
Well, I would also say that I think a lot of people had a lot of issues with guys like Sam Bradford, and he's the one who's coming to my mind right now, who held out and got paid $50 million before they even stepped on a field at training camp. And
Marcus Russell
was another one.
Yeah.
They didn't want to go. There was no rookie wage scale, and those rookies really did have a lot of power, Pearl, because they were top picks and they held out for tons of money, and then either they were good or weren't good. And I don't think fans love that either because it kept your team over a barrel. And I think you're kind of wanting it both ways. Like, here's my thing. We want to take it to our job. I can't get hired to do the morning show and then say, you know what, I'm going to do the morning show and I'm also going to take Zach Gelb's show. Who am I? How could I do that? The boss sets the schedule and you do it or you don't do it. Like, it's pretty cut and dry to me.
Kenny, call back, buddy.
Let's go to Mark is in Texas. Hey, Mark.
Good morning. I agree with you, Maggie. I think that the NFL is so much faster today than college. Him going both ways, he would be gassed by halftime. Hurry up offense. The other thing is to take a high pick on him. I don't think he's in the top 1 or 2 or 3 receivers coming out of college this year. I don't think he's in the top 1 or 2 cornerbacks coming out of college this year. I think if you want him to play both ways, some team in the second round might draft him. But I do agree with Perloff that individually he's not that great or going to get drafted that high. So, again, I just think college is a lot slower, and he could be a unicorn in college but not in pros.
Interesting, Mark. So you don't think he's going to be drafted high because he's not – by the way, I think he is a top corner in college. But you don't think that he's going to get drafted high with the skill set?
I think if he goes one way, no.
Yeah, he's going to go – well – I think he's much more likely to get drafted high and go both ways. Mark, I do disagree a little bit. I think he's like exceptionally fast and explosive for a college player. I think he's kind of like, it reminds me of Randy Moss in college. Like he's that level, or Barry Sanders in college. He's unique. Could you buy that?
I don't disagree with you there. I'm talking about the people he covers on defense.
Yeah.
Oh,
and
like
the quarterbacks he's playing against on offense.
That
is so much faster.
That is a critique of Hunter. He has not seen a lot of high-end passing games.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Mark, thanks for the call. That's what I'm saying about the Big 12. I mean, it's a step up.
Yeah, but I mean, listen.
What Big 12 quarterbacks are getting drafted in this draft?
But you, at a certain point, like you have guys from all kinds of schools who end up being superstar players. Like Aaron Donald was at Pitt, and he turned out to be the greatest defensive tackle we've ever seen. So I don't know. You have to make a projection at some point, Maggie. You can't just say just because he was in the Big 12, he's not going to be able to do it in the NFL.
JT is in Atlanta. Hey, JT.
Hey, what's going on? Thank you for taking my call. Happy Friday.
You too.
I just have to agree with you, Maggie. It's just like a no-brainer. I mean, this is the thing that it sounds like Perloff is saying is like it's a one-way street. Like the player empowerment, the player's not paying himself. There's an investment that's going on. Like as a company or a team, I'm investing in you. So I do want to look out for my investment as well. And if my investment is sitting on the sideline in street clothes, it's not doing me any good. So I have to protect my investment as well as your ego, right? Like if I understand that you want to be this person to be the first to do something. And like the guy was like, push the boundaries, Kenny. Like, Kenny, I wish Kenny would, as a Philadelphia Eagle fan, would run the Dallas Cowboys because they would probably be the same place they are now.
Oh,
Be selectively aggressive.
Caller on caller. NFC East crime.
I'm just saying, like, there is an investment that as a team is being made. Therefore, I definitely have a say. To say that they are kind of like powerless or shouldn't have a say and it should be all up to the player on what they do, that's ridiculous. Like, you're not paying yourself.
Well, and the other part, too,
again,
JT, is I think
you get hurt.
I think there's also like the idea of proving it, right? And thank you for the call. Like, you know, let's let Travis Hunter get to the NFL, and can we see what it looks like first? You know, like, can you see how is someone acclimating? Because when he went from Jackson State to the Big 12 at Colorado, he did get hurt that first year, and he did miss games. So I can't have a warm-up period here before someone comes in calling their shot. I need this. I need that. Like, can we see if you can, how good you are on the professional level?
Oh, God. If he becomes a quote-unquote shutdown corner on like a 4-win team and playing at 1 p.m. every day, this is just a crime.
Well, newsflash, I mean, he's probably going to a bad team.
Right,
if
but
he's getting drafted high.
Right, and he's going to be like the reason to watch that team unless you just play him a cornerback. I think also he's obviously going to demand to play wide receiver, right? Like if he has a choice, I don't think there's any question.
No, he's literally demanding that. That's what he said. Don't draft me if you don't want to play me both ways.
Right. But if he had to get cornered into one spot, it would 100% be wide receiver because receivers
I'm sorry. I didn't get that.
Like he would be like, I'm not going to sit there and play cornerback because there'd be no highlights. There'd be nothing going on there. If he's on one of these teams in the top 10, like you got to play him both ways. You stink. What do you have to lose? Even if you get 8 weeks out of it, he gets hurt. It's still the best 8 weeks you're going to have.
Andrew Bogusch is here with headlines. Keep the calls coming at 855-212-4227. Can Travis Hunter be a successful two-way player in the NFL with a full-time schedule? Bogusch, what's going on, dude?
Guys, good morning. Your headline sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Your small business keeps you on the go. Progressive Commercial Insurance keeps your policy within reach with our easy-to-use mobile app. Learn more at progressivecommercial.com. Tom Brady's accidental meeting or pre-planned sleepover with Matthew Stafford apparently very impactful. The Las Vegas Review-Journal now reporting that Stafford and the Raiders have found some common ground on a new contract. But that, of course, doesn't mean that the Raiders and Rams will find any common ground on a trade. And maybe L.A. now knows what type of deal will keep Stafford happy with them. And P.S., the NFL said yesterday, without confirming any details of this Brady-Stafford meeting, that the meeting was not tampering.
I love this turned into a sleepover.
Yeah, why not?
Just like popcorn and watching a movie.
Yeah, that's how we got Mike McCarthy in Dallas, and it's how we'll get Stafford in Vegas.
By the way, I was actually really shocked at this story. Since the Rams said you could seek a trade, anybody who wants to tamper with, there's no tampering anymore. I did not know that's how it worked. Anybody could talk to him.
Well, there was I think it was Pro Football Talk said, it depends on what the Rams told him he could do. Like, I don't know
They
that
didn't
there's
put parameters on it.
right. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't know if it's just a
Okay.
blanket. You can go to Tom Brady's house, or what did we say his agent was? His name was.
Don
yesterday?
Jimmy.
So it has
No,
to be
that's
spelled
Brady's
out.
agent.
Jimmy Sexton.
Or Jimmy Sexton can call GMs. Like, I think there is a way for the Rams to have put certain kind of
It's like,
borders
listen,
on this.
you can have dinner, but you can't order the steak.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
And no drinks, and also everyone's got to be home by 10.
And once again, we're also in this world where how much is Tom Brady doing for the Raiders while being on TV? Like, there's also, again, if he's out there recruiting Stafford and not the GM and not Pete Carroll, then he's, again, doing more than they want us to think he's doing.
Bogusch, it's so clever, or it's so cute that you think that conflicts of interest exist in our world anymore. That's adorable.
No,
I just think there's no way they're getting a draft pick. I mean, for tampering, once you say
No,
you
we're
could
done.
once you say you could seek a trade, like they're not coming after the Rams. Certainly aren't coming after them. That's how it usually happens, right? The team. Yeah. So there's no way. Once you say to the guy, "Hey, we don't even want you. Go seek a trade." Like, you can't get mad at someone else for.
Okay, but also
talking
that's
to him.
not what they said. The Rams didn't say we don't want you. They didn't like.
Well, they said go talk to other teams.
right.
Yeah.
But-
So
but-
like the odds of them like getting a first round pick for tampering seem immediately thrown out the
but
window.
no one's
Yeah, that's off
saying
the
that.
table.
And no
Well,
one
that
really was
that's why
saying it.
Ian and Jordan got it in a. That's why there
Right.
was fight, because they were worried about the tampering clause. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's also funny that the NFL didn't tell us what happened, but don't worry, it wasn't tampering. They
Yeah.
didn't say what the meeting was. They didn't say where it was. They didn't
Yeah.
get from any specifics, but it wasn't tampering.
And the reason
We've
they
already
said it
decided
was
this.
they said it wasn't tampering because of the Rams. The Rams said you can reach a trade, which I don't know. Had you guys thought about that? Had anyone else brought that up until this story comes up?
No. But I did think it was funny because when the two media insiders, Jordan Schultz and Ian Rappaport, nearly come to blows in a Starbucks in Indianapolis. It was because Jordan said that they met in Montana,
Right.
and that Brady was hosting Stafford, and Ian Rappaport said that's not true.
It was a coincidence.
Right, it was a coincidence, and we thought that Rappaport was being fed that by the agents
Right.
to try to, smooth over any kind of potential tampering.
Right. So they were trying to avoid tampering, right? But then the NFL said there's no fear of tampering because the Rams said,
Right,
you
that's
can
what
seek a-
Bogusch just told
Right,
us.
yeah. So I'm saying, like, it didn't even matter. Like, there was no reason for the insiders to fight.
Oh.
Because, like, the tampering wasn't on the table already. That's why I'm saying. And I did
Maybe
not
they'll
know
make
that.
up now.
Because yesterday we kept talking about tampering, right? And then it turned out we didn't need to be talking about it. I found that very interesting.
But I do think that as they're in the Rams' position, you are allowed to dictate the terms of that permission. So it's not just
think
yes
so.
or no. I'm sorry?
Yeah, no, I think you're right about that.
Right.
Yeah.
So you can say there's a world where they said they could have specifically been like, don't talk to Tom Brady.
No face to face.
And that, right. Yes, exactly. They could have said that. You can't go to headquarters. You can't go meet somebody, but your agent can talk to the GM. It's not just a blanket, blind, immediate, yes or no thing. You can say, don't do this, don't do that, and then there could have been tampering.
We're making the Rams sound like they're in a polyamorous relationship with Matthew Stafford.
Yeah, and I was also
So weird.
it's very bizarre. And we still are probably going to end up with him going back there.
Yeah, no, we're obviously getting played in this negotiation,
Yeah,
like everybody. The entire NFL was like, oh my God, we're just getting Matthew Stafford $2 million more a year every show. Like, he's obviously just negotiating here.
Yeah. We also had Travis Kelce telling Pat McAfee that Travis Kelce will play again next season, and Myles Garrett reportedly wants no part of an extension in Cleveland.
Let a naysayer know.
Rutgers stars Ace Bailey and Dylan Harper falling even farther in Maggie's mock draft. The former lottery picks couldn't hold on to a 12-point lead last night at number 15, Michigan.
Gale looking, gets it into Wolf, catches, dribbles, Burnett, a three for the win. Good. And Michigan has beaten Rutgers 84-82.
Pour one out for our good friend Jerry Recco on Rutgers Radio on WFAN. A few minutes after the buzzer-beating loss, Jerry had to interview Rutgers head coach Steve Peichel live on said radio.
We head downstairs now. Head coach Steve Peichel with his coach Jerry and Austin. You've been around this game a long time. How do you even react to that?
Just devastated for our
Wow.
guys. Played so hard and whole time. Excuse my language.
I guess we're going to have to.
Wait, Manny, you weren't just bleeping that, like having fun with the audio?
No. Those are 3 F-bombs in 6 seconds if you're scoring at home.
I am innocent.
That also needed a re-edit, by the way. The first edit was they left a lot to be desired. Let's say that.
Yeah, those bleeps are working hard.
You can't bleep the K in that word and think you've done enough.
Yeah, it's a multi-syllable word.
Yeah. But apparently I've been told that live on the radio, those were covered, that the guys in charge back here
Dumped it
before those made it on the air. But yeah, and that was a good, I'm told, 5+ minutes after the game. A lot of times coaches like walk right across the court, throw the headset on, and you're getting a really fired up coach, good or bad.
Yeah.
But Peichel did apparently have a little bit of time to cool off.
5 minutes. He's never get over this for the rest of his life.
Three F-bombs in 6 seconds.
Oof. What's up with these college basketball scores lately? What was the final score here?
This one was 84-82,
Oh,
83-82. Yeah, this one was real.
Dylan was pretty sweet last night, future Sixer.
You gonna speak of that?
He's manifesting it.
Well, there are 20 wins. They got to lose out and get a better lottery position.
Who has more wins, Rutgers or the Sixers?
The Sixers, barely. Barely.
Man. Oh, gosh. Michigan actually, didn't they lost a heartbreaker to Michigan State not that long ago. Was that last weekend?
Yeah, but they also, I think what you're remembering is they played that 48-45 game earlier this week.
That's what I'm thinking about.
Yeah.
That's his Big Ten basketball. That's par for the course in the Big Ten.
Halftime score. Sheesh.
Not sure how Notre Dame women's coach Niall Ivey hung out last night, but her team lost again, 86-81, number 24 FSU. That's back-to-back losses now for the third-ranked Irish. Top-ranked Texas surviving at Mississippi State, 68-64. And in the NBA last night, Steph Curry put 56 on the Magic in the Warriors' 121-115 win in Orlando. LeBron, Luka, and the Lakers down the T-Wolves, 111-102. Guys, back to you.
Bogusch, thanks so much. Coming up, we are asking you if Travis Hunter can be successful in the NFL if he is playing a full-time schedule on offense and on defense. 855-212-4227. Let us know what you think.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 2 minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back. Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff, it's M&P. Been asking you this morning, can Travis Hunter be successful in the NFL if he's playing a full-time schedule on both offense and on defense? And EJ, let's throw the poll up if we haven't yet on M&P on X. You can vote there. I'm staunchly against it. Perloff loves it.
Yeah, I like to have fun when I'm watching football. Maggie's the no fun police of this thing, but she doesn't want him to get hurt. I get it, but come on, don't you want to see that? You're the one who wants to see Shohei. It's the same thing.
Okay.
It's the exact same thing.
Shohei would pitch once a week, okay?
Which is so much more dangerous than anything any football player does.
But here's the thing, right? I'm okay with Travis Hunter, couple plays here, couple plays there. I'm saying the full-time schedule, and I guess beyond that, I do think it's a little strange. And I know Travis Hunter's a great generational talent who just won the Heisman. I do think it's a little odd for a guy who's never played a snap in the NFL to be calling their shot and telling a team, don't draft me unless you're going to let me do this thing that no one's ever done. How about just any way I can help the team?
Yeah, but like that feels like a GOAT move to me, like Kobe Bryant telling like all these teams not to draft me. I like that. And also he's basically Deion's second, the fourth son. Like this is a very Deion kind of move.
Let's go to the
Do you believe that?
855-212-4227. Andreas is in Dallas. Andreas, what do you think? A full-time schedule for Travis Hunter, can he do it?
So if I'm the team, I would allow him to play full-time on both ends, and I want to see how he does the first 1 or 2 years. If he gets hurt, that's when I'll have a serious conversation telling him, where do you want to be in your career? Do you want to be a receiver or a cornerback? Choose one right now, or else we'll trade you.
Yeah, I get it, Andreas, but couldn't you do the opposite? Couldn't you let him get acclimated a bit to the NFL? Like, how often do we see guys come into the league and say, like, it took me a while to get my nutrition right. It took me a while to figure out what training kind of works for me at this level. Like, you learn, like everyone on a job.
Well, this is my next point. If he's successful, he could breed a new generation of players that could be dual threats in the NFL. So if I'm the team that can pick up a wide receiver, a cornerback, and 2 players in one, my draft picks can go other places. So I think this is kind of interesting.
Yeah.
The NFL could really see a change, which it could be beneficial in the future.
Yeah.
So that's where I stand.
I disagree with you
Thanks,
a little
Andreas.
bit. I think Travis Hunter is a generational freak athlete.
One of one.
Like there are legends of what he used to do on the 7-on-7 field. He used to get paid to play on random 7-on-7 teams because he was the most unstoppable 7-on-7 player of all time. He's ridiculous. But that being said, the teams that are drafting high do need cornerbacks and wide receivers. I like this salary cap management, Maggie. It's smart GMs do this.
Let's hear from Hunter himself. He was at the combine, scouting combine, not going to be working out there, which is fine. But here's the challenge of trying to play wide receiver and corner in the NFL, according to Hunter.
They say nobody has ever done it for real the way I do it, but I tell them that I'm just different.
I'm just different. Okay, more from Hunter says he prepares well enough to play both sides.
I feel like I'll put my body through a lot. I do a lot of treatment. People don't get to see that part, what I do for my body to make sure I'm 100% each game. But I feel like I can do it because nobody have done it, and I know I can do it. I did it at college level, which the game is, we rarely get breaks, and it's a lot more breaks in the NFL.
Okay, I guess. I don't know.
Well,
I'm not so sure about that. You're also going to be playing at a much higher level than the Big 12 versus, playing in the NFL. Like playing against Baylor is not the same as playing against the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Well, it's funny. Some people are saying he's going to have to do meetings during the week for both position groups, and he's never going to get to sleep. I think that gets into the whole. The NFL is rocket science. Like, he's not going to have time to learn these schemes. Like, I think they can work around that. Like, simplify his packages for both sides, because you don't want them, staying up 18 hours to try and memorize the defensive and offensive playbook. They can figure this out. I don't think that's a mountain that's too high to climb.
That's funny. I did not think that was the challenge. Like learning the playbook. I didn't think. I mean, he seems like he's a bright guy.
The double positional group meetings is probably that's like what most of the week is for the NFL, right?
I'm just different.
Yeah, I guess my biggest thing would not actually be the meetings necessarily, although I'm sure they're very important. I think it would be the chemistry with the quarterback. Like, we talk and we've seen at the highest level, Tom Brady, right? He's always in the offseason working out with these guys. They're going to high school fields and throwing before practice, after practice. If you're going to be a full-time wide receiver, you've got to really be in sync with your QB.
Right, but that all happens in the offseason, right? Like during the week in the NFL, I don't think they throw to each other.
Yeah, maybe. I think it's something that builds, though, over the course of a season, especially as a rookie. Like, we're talking about him stepping into an NFL team for the first time. If he gets drafted to I don't even know who's playing quarterback for the Giants. Let's say he gets drafted, or the Browns. Let's see, where is he going to get drafted? Let's say he gets drafted by the Patriots, and it's Drake May. Like, look at how different Drake May even was from the beginning, or when he started, 6-7 games in, to the end of the year with his receivers. Like that chemistry is constantly building. Are you going to be able to dedicate enough time for that?
How psyched would the Patriots be if he fell to them? Because the Giants need him most, I would say, but the Patriots, they need something. They need a jolt of energy, and this seems like the perfect one. Now, they actually could play him at wide receiver and not cornerback. They don't really need a cornerback, but still, they should feature that guy. The question, I do think it's a great question, like Teterow and McMillan, the top receiver.
Yeah.
Like, you could argue, well, if you're just going to play Travis Hunter wide receiver, then McMillan's probably a better prospect. So you might pass on him. I think you got to play him both ways if you're taking him this high.
Man, do you think there's any chance that Travis Hunter drops?
No, not at all.
Yeah, I don't either. See, and I think that a team would say, I don't have to play him full time.
I think that a team will say, I'm going to play him both ways. I really, especially these bad teams.
Yeah, but it's the Giants, risk that comes with it.
Again, honestly, if he can learn to play quarterback, just line him up a quarterback for the Giants. I don't even care. He should do everything. I want the ball in that guy's hands as much as possible.
Well, we know that the New York Giants are in hot pursuit of a new quarterback, but they're dueling it out with the Las Vegas Raiders, maybe for the services of Matthew Stafford. I have to believe that the Giants and the Raiders have to have a legit plan B, though. You cannot be putting all of your eggs into the Matthew Stafford bucket because the Rams could just kibosh the whole thing.
Aaron Rodgers, Kirk Cousins?
Rodgers with the Giants?
Yeah.
We did hear that he had checked in on the Giants.
Kirk Cousins, cult of Kirk Cousins, as we learned about?
If I'm a Giant fan, I'm revolting if they give me Kirk Cousins. I'm walking out and just saying, John Mara, thanks for the memories, but I can't take any more of this. 855-212-4227. Okay, lots more to do, including your thoughts on Travis Hunter, but also one superstar set to make his big return. We'll tell you who it is and why it matters next.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining.
Good. Okay. Get us started.
Okay. Welcome back to the Maggie and Perloff show on the No. Stop. Thank you, EJ.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. How about a microphone for him?
Okay.
Okay, here we go. Welcome back to the Maggie and Perloff show on the Infinity Sports Radio Network. Coming up later in the show, we'll talk to Yankees manager Aaron Boone and Knicks star Jalen Brunson. But first, someone who needs no introduction, someone you all know, the guy behind the guy. Of course, I'm talking about Teddy Beal. Welcome to the show, Teddy.
Thank you very much.
Has it always been your goal to run New York sports?
You know, ever since I saw the helmet catch in 2004. Oh, sorry. I just got a call. Oh, it's Steve Cohen. I'll send it to voicemail. So ever since I saw the helmet catch in 2014, I knew I was really destined to put forth New York into so much more glory than I could have ever imagined. I'm so excited to lead New York sports to the next generation.
Now, Teddy, is it true you told Steve Cohen you have to sign Juan Soto?
Yeah, Steve was firmly against it, stuck at the $700 million mark, and I told him, this is what you signed up for. He's going to be the next star of New York. You know, OBP comparable to Ted Williams. He's really just the absolute thing that's going to push the New York Mets into this dynasty coming forward.
Well, what about Saquon? How come John Mara, the Giants owner, let go of Saquon?
You know, I talked to John about it, and he was no, not all for it. He was going to have to offer him a lot of money. But I was saying, you know, did the Greeks trade Achilles to the Trojans in the middle of the Trojan War? No, we're trying to win this thing. He's the personality comparable to Odell Beckham Jr. and Lawrence Taylor. We had to keep him, but, you know, you win some, you lose some.
So when did you realize you were destined for greatness?
You know, that's a good question. You know, I just always knew. All right, I think it was like... Yeah, all right.
Good job, kid. Yeah. Well done. Really, really good. That was fantastic.
$30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
Honestly, forget the quarterbacks in this draft. It's all about Travis Hunter. Welcome to the show, Maggie Gray,
Yep.
Andrew Perloff. He's the Heisman Trophy winner, Pearl, generational talent, which we throw around a little too much. But he's really, head and shoulders above even generational quarterbacks or generational pass rushers because he's trying to do something that no one has ever done, which is play a full-time schedule on offense and defense in the NFL.
Yeah, maybe in the 20s they were doing this. But
Right.
you know what? If Shohei
Forgive
can come
me.
along,
Yeah.
Shohei Ohtani can come along and change baseball, I think Travis Hunter could do this. Deion did it a little bit. Devin Hester did it a little bit. It never really translated. I feel like the fact that Travis Hunter did this so extensively in college makes him an exception, and I think he's ready to go. He's so unique, too. We saw him walking around Media Row at the Super Bowl. The guy is like one gigantic muscle. He's like a fast twitch machine just walking. He's so different. I feel like he's the total exception.
Okay, and it's cool to think that he's got this really high ceiling because he absolutely does. But forgive me, can he play a snap in the NFL first before I'm crowning him? And you know what?
Get out of here.
I think he should want it that way too, right? Because if I'm going in and I'm making some demands, and his demands are not like, I don't think they're like, line in the sand. But he's saying, if you're not going to play me a full-time schedule on offense and defense, then don't draft me. I mean, how about saying whatever you need?
No way. Like, first of all, look at the teams. It's Tennessee, Cleveland, and New York Giants are the first three teams. You're lucky that he's even going to go to those teams. I would say, hey, you know what? Don't even draft me. I'd rather fall away. You guys, you're talking about terrible franchises.
Okay, but now you're talking about two different things.
Well,
Is it one thing to say, I don't want to go to this team because I don't trust you at all? Or is another to say, I don't want to go there because you're not going to do exactly as I say? Those are two different things.
Well, my point is, if the Kansas City Chiefs say, this is how we think we should develop you, then as a player, I'm listening. But if the New York Giants or the Cleveland Browns are telling me that, I'm like, you know what? I'd rather just go somewhere else.
Then just say I don't want to go there, but here's the thing. If you can end up getting to one of those teams, like you say, and if it's Kansas City or say it's the Ravens or someone like that has a lot of cachet, well, they could say, you know what, we're not going to do this. And then what is he going to say? It feels like he really wants this no matter what. So even if it is the Ravens or the Chiefs or a really good team, the 49ers or your Eagles, I think he wants this thing.
You're probably
and to
right.
me, it's kind of me first, to be honest.
But it's a different calculus if it's a great team. I mean, a team, if he thinks he could win a Super Bowl, but he's going to be a top draft pick. All the teams that are at the top of the draft need wide receivers and cornerbacks. Like, he's entering a team with nothing on either side of the ball, most likely. So it just feels like it's a perfect match. Like Tennessee, who sits number one. Okay. They could play him on every play, and he'd be the best player on both units.
So here's the thing, though, where I'm having a little bit of a disconnect. Because I feel like this is at least how it's coming off to me. And I don't want to mischaracterize Travis Hunter here because I think he is, I'm rooting for him and I want to watch it. And I think it's going to be a lot of fun. But are you saying that I need to put my individual goals before the team goal? So like, I'll go to a bad team. I'll go to the Cleveland Browns. I'll go to some crappy team that's going to be a revolving door coach and GM and have no direction and terrible ownership if you let me do my thing.
No, but his thing, he thinks I can help the team more by doing this. It's not about his personal glory. He's not going to want to sit on the bench for either time. He's going to want to go out there to help the team.
Okay, but you helping the team, if you're going to play full-time offense and defense and expose yourself to more injury risk, then you're not helping us. Then you're putting your own needs. Like, yeah, I'm sure there's a lot of guys who are so super competitive, they want to be out there on offense and defense, but they don't get a chance to do it. You don't just get everything you want because you say you want it.
Yeah,
you have to earn it.
But I do think that in this case, he's saying, I really think I could help these teams a lot more. Kind of like LeBron wanting to play 82 games in the era of load management.
Sure.
I think that some guys are just like, well, I understand the injury risk, but I just put me out there. And he was a bit of an exception. The guy, he's definitely different in the sense that, remember Colorado? He played every down. He was never tired. He was
did
never
get hurt
worn
that
out.
First year, though.
Was he really? I felt
yes.
like I think it's partly because he had the altitude advantage, but I felt like he was. I don't feel like fatigue was a huge issue for him.
No, it's not, but the Big 12 is also not the NFL.
Right, but he's just like he's a unicorn in college. I feel like it is a fair projection to say he's going to be a unicorn in the NFL.
855-212-4227. Okay, so we're asking you, can Travis Hunter be successful if he's playing both offense and defense full time? Also want to get to some news today, which is Travis Kelce. Manny, let's hear the cut. Here he is, Pat McAfee show, talking about what's in store for the upcoming season.
Message was, my dog, exclamation point, exclamation point, exclamation point. Source says I'm coming back for sure. Going to try and get to the best shape I've been this offseason and get back to the mountaintop. Got a real bad taste in my mouth with how I played in that last game and how I got the guys ready for battle. I can't go out like that.
Which was exactly what I said the day after the Super Bowl. I'm like, Travis Kelce is not retiring off of a game when he had, 3 yards? Like it was so not, representative of what his entire career has been. So I did not think that he was going to retire. He's not retiring. And is it the most Travis Kelce thing ever that he would start a text message, my dog, 4 exclamation points?
Let a naysayer know.
If he had sent a regular text message like, hey, how's it going?
Yeah.
I would have been shocked. My dog.
I think actually the most Travis Kelce thing is the other day I saw this clip of him explaining how there's a Taylor Swift song to match every mood, including after they lost. He had queued up all the Taylor Swift lines. He's so Travis Kelce. It's unbelievable.
Exclamation point, exclamation point.
But you know what about that quote?
Exclamation point.
Was he not in good shape last year? That's kind of how I read that. I was like, whoa.
I think there was a little bit of an admission there that, and listen, people said it, that he looked like he was out of shape and maybe was focused on, a lot of other things in the offseason.
Like that heavy travel.
Touring with Taylor, and then also some of the TV shows and stuff that he was doing.
Right,
I think here's the question, though, about not just Travis, but about the Chiefs.
My dog.
If he's a focal point of the offense, can they win another Super Bowl? Right? Like, for so long, Perloff, he's been the number one option. He can't be the number one option anymore. That we learned. Unless he's going to get himself into some ridiculous shape, and I don't know. But if you look at all of the numbers and the way that they're all trending down. Yep. And the biggest one and the most glaring one is yards after the catch. So he's still having like the average depth of target, if you will, the ADOT. That's basically the same, but it's the yards after the catch that has just fallen dramatically. He's not able, or at least last year, he wasn't able to get away from guys. So,
but I think also part of that is because Mahomes is passing it quicker. So they're just throwing a lot of crappy short passes that everyone except Worthy's like getting nowhere. I mean, all Mahomes' throws are shorter. And I understand, like, you're saying that it's the after the catch. But
same average depth of target was 6.4 last year. 6.7 in 2023 and 6.4 this year.
But the difference is 5 years ago, those safeties were way, way, way back because they were worried about getting burned over the top. Now the safeties are standing right next to Travis Kelce when he catches it. Like, the Chiefs have become so predictable on offense. I think that's a function of everybody's moving up to the line because they're just a short passing team. So I think that there's no room for Kelce. You saw it in the Eagles game. Like, there was nowhere to operate.
So how's he going to impact this team in a meaningful way? I mean, he still gets first downs for them, so I don't want to take that away. But he got 133 targets last year. Yeah. That's right aligned with his average. I don't think you can have Travis Kelce getting targeted 133 times, 140. His highs are like 155 when he was really at his peak, and think that you're going to win a Super Bowl.
Why not? Well, I don't understand. Like, of course they could win a Super Bowl with him there.
No, but as not just him there. I'm saying him as like your number one or number two option.
Yeah, of course
I don't think he gives you that anymore.
Well, if they could just protect Mahomes, if they get a left tackle, then all of a sudden all these weapons are back in play. But they really need. I mean, obviously, like you're talking about a world where the Chiefs fix their O-line. And then if that happens and Kelce's effective again, Rashee Rice is coming back, where all ships raise, and I think Kelce could get right back to where he was 2 years ago because the problem was Mahomes didn't have any faith in his line this year.
Mahomes' passer rating when throwing to Travis Kelce last year was 107, and this year was 83. Like, yeah, you got to fix the offensive line, but I think we're also just seeing the end of Kelce's career. Are we not? There are also 4 interceptions on passes that were intended for Travis Kelce. It's never been even that high.
I'm definitely happy he's returning if I'm a Chiefs fan, though, because otherwise you're going to really have to put a lot of faith in Noah Gray. You need a starting tight end in that offense, and he's fine.
No, it's not about him just coming back. That's fine. I'm not saying, listen, Travis Kelce has earned to be able to come back. And I'm not saying he's a glorified mascot anymore either. I'm just saying if he's your first or second option, I don't know if that's necessarily a winning formula for the Chiefs at his age.
But it was
at
this year. Like he didn't do anything this year. He had 800 yards in the regular season.
Still had 133 targets.
Right. But I'm just saying, and the Chiefs did fine. I mean, they got to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, but in 2 out of the 3 playoff games they played in, he was pretty much not a factor.
Yeah, they scored their season high 32 points in one of those games. So I think they're still with Kelce. Say he gets 133 targets next year. Same thing. They're right there. I feel like they're still a Super Bowl team, even though they look so bad in the last game. And I think Kelce could still be really effective.
No one asked Kelce about the sickness thing that Brett Veach, the general manager, brought up when he did an interview with NFL Network. He said, I'm not making excuses, but Travis was dealing with a lot of illness, and nobody has brought that up to him. I listened to the Kelce podcast, the latest one. They didn't even mention it. 855-212-4227. George is in L.A., wants to talk about Matthew Stafford's future. George, we learned that apparently there's a contract that would be agreeable between the Raiders and Stafford. Still don't know about the draft compensation yet for the Rams side, but what do you think?
Yeah, I'd give it a 75% chance that Stafford and Kupp as a package deal go to the Raiders. And I also predict that Aaron Rodgers and Adams might be a package deal to the Rams if they get Aaron Rodgers on the cheap. And Sean McVay said that he's happy with Jimmy G if he has to start at quarterback. He has no problem with that. And that's just my prediction. It's probably going to happen unless there's an 11-hour deal where they re-sign Stafford. But right now I think he's going to the Raiders.
George, you're putting it, what do you say, 70%? 70-30?
75%.
Perloff, are you as confident? Thank you, George. Are you as confident? 75%. That's high.
No, I think there's some issues with dead cap in the Rams that kind of bring that back. If they trade Stafford, then they're hurting their cap. So I think this might take a while to sort out in that sense. 75, it just feels way too high for me. I think the Raiders have a good chance.
50% is where I would put it.
Right. I mean, are you saying less than 50% he's not a Ram, or less than 50% particularly the Raiders?
Less than 50% he's not a Ram.
Yeah.
I think he's going to be a Ram.
If he wasn't a Ram, let me ask you this. Give me a percentage between, let's give 2 teams, the Giants and the Raiders. How would you handicap that?
I think the Giants are probably a little more desperate.
Yeah.
So maybe I would give them the nod. And I don't think that Stafford would say, all right, I'm just going to retire. I don't think that's on the table. I think he wants to play. So maybe I'd give it to the Giants because their coach and their GM are like an eyelash away from both getting fired, whereas all the Raider people just got hired.
I would go eyelash towards, I'd go 60-40 Raiders because the coach is so old. It's closer to L.A., and I'm a little bit now I'm suckered into the skiing story too. So I'd go 60-40 Raiders over Giants. Also George has influenced me. He's pretty smart about this stuff. 75% Raiders.
75 is high.
I totally agree with your percentage. I think still 50% or better that he's a Ram.
Yeah, I would say that. How about the Jimmy G stuff? When I heard that and Diana Rossini reported it, and I'm not doubting her reporting, that the Rams are saying we're totally fine going into the season with Jimmy G, I can't get there. I cannot buy that.
Aren't you dazzled by the looks? No, I'm just kidding. But why not Jimmy? Jimmy G's proven he can win a lot in this league, a lot.
Yeah, but that was a while ago.
Not that. I mean, the San Francisco was 2 years ago. It was 2022. And he was awesome.
And then he got hurt.
Right. I know he gets hurt a lot.
And the Brock Purdy legend began, but we're talking about when he was in the Super Bowl now was quite a long time ago. And he literally got benched in Las Vegas and almost got Davante Adams murdered, according to Davante Adams.
But again, can't you look and say, well, maybe that was a franchise? McVay and Kyle Shanahan, Sean McVay, they have this way of resuscitating quarterbacks. They basically brought Sam Darnold back to life. They're trying to bring Carson Wentz back to life.
No, the 49ers brought Sam Darnold back.
I said Kyle Shanahan and McVay. Yeah. Those guys, like, they think they can take middling quarterbacks and make them great. And I think that's what McVay is thinking with Jimmy G. He's like, well, I've seen him be good with Shanahan in the past. I can probably make him pretty good too.
But I don't know if he can stay healthy, number one. And two, I don't want him hurting Puka Nacua. You're going to give him these hospital balls or whatever that Devontae Adams was talking about? I don't love it.
I think Sean McVay is a little smarter at this kind of thing than whatever was going on the Raiders was the Raiders. But
then Josh McDaniels?
Yes, definitely. He was 13-3 in 2019 as a Niners quarterback, Jimmy G. He was 7-3 in 2022. The guy can win a lot of football games. I don't totally understand how.
You don't think they'd bring in Aaron Rodgers? I don't think they're just going to go into the season like, hey, Jimmy G, we're going to win the division. I don't know.
I mean, maybe I don't think it's a no-brainer because I think they'd be worried about Aaron Rodgers' health too. I think Jimmy G would be an option there.
EJ, you look like you want to say something about Jimmy G.
The only thing about Jimmy G that I keep thinking about is if the Shanahan tree loved him so much, why were they trying to get rid of him every chance they got, right?
Oh, they made it awkward.
Trey Lance and then Brock Purdy came in. They were like, out of here, son. Like, they
wouldn't let him go to meetings.
It felt like, in the way they talked about him, it felt like, yeah, we could win kind of in spite of him. And then if that's what the Rams are thinking, that's not exciting to me for the Rams' future. Like, okay, so they get Jimmy G and he plays respectable football. I mean, okay, you win 9 games next year. Like,
yeah, you were 20 yards away from the NFC Championship game last year.
But this is a team who has a 37-year-old Matthew Stafford's like, we don't need him anymore. I'm saying, like,
I think that's ridiculous too. I agree.
Yeah, I know. It's in the same vein of ridiculous.
And that's kind of why I'm not as McVay won a Super Bowl, so he's a little different. But like sometimes the love for the Shanahan tree, I look at these guys and I'm like, have you guys won enough to just think that you can play with any quarterback and just win with anybody? Like it's I don't know, it's a little weird to me.
Well, I'll tell you one thing that maybe affected me. Kyle Shanahan had, and correct me if I'm wrong, Sam Darnold, right? He was the Niner. I keep forgetting where.
He's a backup, but he barely played.
Shanahan said people don't understand Darnold is way better than you think. He's actually could be the next Steve Young. And then he went to Minnesota. I know it ended terribly, but he was way better than we thought. So I do feel like Shanahan and McVay can sometimes see a quarterback that fits their style of offense a little better than what the quarterback looks like elsewhere. I do think they can resuscitate these guys.
Is it one thing, though, to be winning regular season games and then another when the competition gets really stiff? Because Sam Darnold played against the Rams, and it was a bloodbath.
Yeah, but still, Sam Darnold was way above everybody's expectation.
But at the end of the day, though, can you win a Super Bowl with these kind of guys, right? Like, I think in some ways it's a little, like, it's a little bizarre to think, well, I can win with them, but when I watch the guys that are winning Super Bowls, is either the super teams or the teams like the Eagles or the teams that have quarterbacks that are game changers, not game managers, as Cam Newton said.
The Rams have a guy they know can win a Super Bowl, and they're like, we don't even want you.
Right, and that's the thing. That's to me, it's like there's arrogance to that. Like, they could not win with Jared Goff. And they said, we need a better guy. We have this great system, but you know what? A game manager didn't work. We need to get a game changer. So they got Matthew Stafford. They won a Super Bowl. Now they say, no, we need to go back to the Jared Goff thought process. What is that? What sense does that make?
I don't know. Yeah, like this entire 2 weeks has been dedicated to this bizarre move of the Rams not paying Matthew Stafford.
I'm telling you, you were right when you said it kind of offhand last hour, but his price is going up and up and up. I think this was kind of stupid for the Rams. Maybe they should have just negotiated with him straight,
right,
as opposed to letting him, go to so crap teams or right now kind of crappy teams like the Raiders and the Giants can jack up the price.
Yeah,
like,
why did
this is a terrible negotiating strategy.
Right. Why did they say go out to the market? Like, what did they think the market was going to tell him? He was awesome in the last game he played. Of course, the market wants to pay him.
And there's no quarterbacks in the draft this year outside of Shador and Cam, unless you think Jackson Dart or someone else is really going to raise their stock. But like. Yep. People are desperate for QBs.
The Rams want to rebuild. I mean, they want to rebuild. They want to get young. That's the clear
They're already
answer.
Young.
But they want to get young on both sides of the ball. They're letting. I wouldn't even say it's a no-brainer like Cooper Kupp walk. Cooper Kupp was awesome in the last few games. So they just want to get young.
855-212-4227. What are the Rams thinking? Also, we're asking you today, Travis Hunter, can he be successful in the NFL if he's playing a full-time schedule on both offense and defense? Is that going to work? 855-212-4227. We got a joke yesterday from the new Cowboys coach. Yucking it up. Play it for you next.
My dog.
You're in a 5-minute break. 4 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. 1 minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. .15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Preview is sponsored by WeatherGuard Truck and Van Equipment. They're just as driven as the hardworking pros they serve. Hit it, Manny.
The Cup Series heads to the Circuit of the Americas in Austin, Texas for the Echo Park Automotive Grand Prix. Christopher Bell looks to make back-to-back wins after winning at Atlanta last week, but William Byron is the defending champion at the 3.5-mile track. The green flag waves on Sunday at 3:30 Eastern.
Fantastic job.
Dang, I could have, that could have been part of my San Antonio road trip that keeps on getting pushed back. A NASCAR race in Austin would have been amazing.
We got to make this happen. Have you ever been to a NASCAR race? We've talked about this.
I have not.
Oh, I have. It is a phenomenal experience. It's one of those things like a lot of sports where watching it on TV and watching in person just feel like two completely different experiences. Like, I love watching the NFL on TV. I feel very satisfied watching the NFL on TV. You go to a NASCAR race, I've been to Homestead a couple times, and you got the headphones on, and I've been lucky enough to be able to walk, kind of in the back where all the trailers are, and you feel like you're in a completely different experience than watching on TV. High recommend if anyone's never been to a NASCAR race. Bogusch is here with headlines for us.
My dog.
Thanks. Vintage Steph Curry last night in Orlando.
Pajewski out to Curry, pump fake, flyby, 3-ball, got it with the buzzer sounding! The shot clock was winding down. It's his 12-3 of the night. He's got a 52-point game. More importantly, the Warriors lead by 5.
Tim Roy on Warriors Radio.
I'm the petty king.
Might be more important that Curry finished with 56 with those 12 threes. In the third quarter, Curry scored 22 points. All of the Magic scored 21.
Z.
That's not what I wanted to play next. Supposed to hear Steph Curry say that he was good.
And
he was good. Moving on.
I don't have a Steph Curry impersonation, or else I try to kick, save, and beauty help you there.
No thanks. They won the game.
Give you the night on the stream.
That's all we got.
Night to this update.
What was the cut supposed to be?
Maybe Steph Curry number 2.
I didn't have too much going in the first quarter,
There it is.
but once you see a couple go down, juices start flowing and the rim grows and just keep shooting and just having fun with it.
Lots of fun. Warriors, again, they won the game 121-115 over the Magic. Their win streak is now 5. LeBron, 33 points, 17 rebounds, 6 assists, 21, 13, and 5 from Luka. The Lakers down the T-Wolves 111-102. Kyrie scored 25 in the Mavs 103-96 home win over the Hornets. And now your Zion highlight.
Z maintains the dribble, sizing up Richards again.
That's what he wants.
Right shoulder down, lefty layup.
That's
good.
what he wants. He sees Nick Richards and it's like, let me eat.
Oh my goodness!
I love when former players like that's what he wants. He's got him. He's got him where he wants him.
That's Pelicans Radio. Zion, his first career triple-double, 27 points, 10 rebounds, 11 assists, and a 124-116 win in Phoenix. Those Suns have now dropped 7 of 8.
Is that bad?
It is. Greg Popovich will not coach the Spurs again this season. He did visit the team yesterday for the first time since suffering a stroke in November. The meeting reportedly emotional, partly because the physical effects of the stroke apparently visible with Popovich now in the room with the guys. It's actually in about the 9th paragraph of this story that the Las Vegas Review-Journal says the Raiders and Matthew Stafford have found some common ground on a contract if the Rams were to trade the QB to Vegas, and that, of course, remains non-guaranteed. Travis Kelce says he is playing this coming season, partly to get the bad taste out of the Super Bowl, out of his mouth.
You jabroni!
And the Buccaneers are reinstating John Gruden to their Ring of Honor. He was removed following his email scandal. Then this forgiveness apparently set in motion when Lane Kiffin talked about his dad Monty's belief in second chances when the Bucs celebrated Monty's life last year. The Glazers then hosted Gruden and his wife at a game in November.
He's coaching again, right? I mean, is this just another domino where he's got to getting past that email scandal that cost him his job in Las Vegas, and we get 7 coaching openings per season basically. We don't think John Gruden's going to probably get hired next year.
Are you sure it's the NFL? What about a college job?
I think he probably would have already had a college job if he wanted one.
Well, like a major one, like Tennessee or something. I don't know. I think you're right, but he's 61. So
right, perfect age.
Yeah, I was
he could be
wondering
Pete Carroll's son.
If it's kind of got to happen soon rather than later, but I don't think you're wrong.
No, I think he's coming back, and I don't know if he's going to be any good.
Oh, that'd be a massive mistake if someone hires him. He was. We talk about all the other issues with John Gruden. We forget he was a terrible head coach with the Raiders, and he's kind of been mid for a long time. Like that Super Bowl with the Bucs was a long time ago.
And
not much after that.
Tony Dungy's guys.
Exactly.
I think the other part too is I want to know exactly what's true, Perloff, and I'm never going to get this information, but I want to know exactly what was true about how John Gruden was influencing the Raiders drafts. Because it was him and Mike Mayock together. But there were stories that came out that Gruden would go rogue and he would want certain guys. Now, I don't know if that was everyone covering their behinds after they all got fired, but I need to know that because I don't know how great Gruden was at talent evaluation, and would a team like give him that kind of unilateral power like the Raiders did once upon a time.
Well, it's funny too, though. What about broadcasting? Because he was also the most successful broadcaster we've had. He was the highest paid employee at ESPN. He was a huge hit at Monday night. How? I'm not quite sure because he was kind of rambling. But how about that? What do you think he could ever get a major broadcasting job again? Because we forget he was like the solid rock of Monday Night Football, believe it or not, even though he felt like he was watching a different game at times.
Yeah, we got Spider 2 Wide Banana because
He
of
would
John
just say
Gruden.
random plays out of nowhere.
I mean, he's with Barstool now. So
yeah.
so,
and by the way, you know who else had Dion had got. I don't know if he got booted from the NFL Network or he got too expensive. Then he went to Barstool and resuscitated some of his career. I don't know. I just think it's interesting. You're right. It does feel whatever the next job is, John Gruden's prospects have risen.
You can run.
Men's top 25 action last night. Number 15, Michigan knocked down a buzzer-beating 3 to stun Rutgers 84-82. Number 23, St. Mary's winning at Loyola Marymount 58-55. Women's number 1, Texas surviving at Mississippi State 68-64. Number 5, UConn handled number 22, Creighton 72-53 to claim its 5th consecutive Big East regular season title. Chicago White Sox left fielder Andrew Benintendi is out 4 to 6 weeks with a broken hand after getting hit by a pitch. And we began with vintage Curry. Now we finish with vintage Malkin.
Here come the Penguins, 2-on-1. Malkin near circle, slows down, shoots it, scores! Evgeny Malkin, the overtime hero, and the Penguins take down the in-state rival. The Flyers are down.
2 goals, 2 assists, including that game winner from Malkin. The Pens 5-4 win over the Flyers. Guys, back to you.
Did you guys see this story, speaking of NFL coaches, about Jim Harbaugh? So this NFL Players Association survey that came out, Pearl, and coaches are given grades. And Jim Harbaugh got a B+, okay? 22nd out of the 32 teams. But if you look a little closer at the evaluation, 55% of the Chargers players felt that head coach Jim Harbaugh is efficient with their time. And that's a rank of dead last. 32 out of 32. And I credit Pro Football Talk here because they connected some dots with an interview that they did with Mason Graham, the defensive lineman who played for Jim Harbaugh, won a title with Jim Harbaugh for the Wolverines. He said that Harbaugh devoted long portions of team meetings to recite Shakespeare. Quote, he gets a little quirky after he talks for a while. He just starts reading some Shakespeare stuff for 20 minutes, rambling on. He memorized the whole St. Crispin's speech, just kind of rambled on for almost 20 minutes. It was a little weird, but it's cool that he does that type of stuff. He's a different coach. I like him a lot.
I think that's why he kind of wears out his welcome. I think it's one of those things where that stuff works with maybe college kids and maybe for the first few NFL seasons, but not just necessarily with the players, but just with everybody, right? He seems the kind of guy that he's taking everybody's time, right? Like, you're the security guard, and you're the guy who does the Gatorade. Right?
Here comes Harbaugh.
Yeah, oh, gosh.
Yeah, I'm going to pretend I'm on a phone call.
Maybe the first 2 conversations are kind of cool because, wow, this is Jim Harbaugh doing this. And then the 10th one, you're like, enough, guy. Enough. I don't want to hear about chickens or anything else you got.
And you're 4-12.
Right.
Also, Shakespeare. Anyone got any Shakespeare memorized?
To be or not to be?
Well, that's one line.
I have a friend who performs the St. Crispin speech. That's a great speech.
How long is it, though?
I think 3 minutes because it'll get a crowd fired up. Yeah, but I thought...
You're going to have to plead ignorance on this one.
He'll get a crowd fired up.
Yeah, St. Crispin's is like...
low maintenance and high production.
Yeah. Anyway, it's an incredible thing. I think it's about like a fallen soldier. But hey, what I thought you were like Jim Harbaugh Uber fan. Like you thought he was going to take the Chargers to Super Bowl.
Yeah, I mean, I was right. They at least made the playoffs. So I wasn't wrong about that and his impact in year one.
And by the way, what do you mean Harbaugh wears out his welcome? He's only done it once in the NFL, right? The Niners, but that was because the GM, Trent Baalke, and him didn't get along. So I feel like people blame Baalke a little bit more than Harbaugh.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it lasted maybe a lot longer at Michigan than it was ever intended to because, remember, he actually was going on multiple interviews with NFL teams. He had to take a pay cut at one point.
He almost got fired from Michigan.
And then he ended up kind of obviously saving it big time at the end with the title.
There a long time, though.
7 years, I think.
He's Beast Herbert.
I think that doing that stuff at your alma mater where they kind of know you and it's different. I do wonder with this Charger thing how long he can be that guy.
Rambling on with Shakespeare speeches.
We all
These
know
chickens
that.
are low maintenance and high production.
We definitely know every office has that person that when they come down the hall, you're like, oh gosh, this is here's 15 minutes that are just gone. Not getting these back.
Ours isn't here yet. I just checked. We're safe for now.
I think we have multiple. We got a lot of
too.
talkers around here. This is the problem at working at a sports talk radio place. Everyone's a talker. There are no shy violets here. It like comes with the territory. We're
true.
all yakety yackers.
We all have that same interest, so that makes it hard too. Because you can't even pretend like you don't care what the person's saying. Because you do care what the Jets are going to do in the second round, but maybe you just don't want to hear from that person. Perloff, any thoughts?
Yeah, no, I have a unique. I've learned the ability since I started working here to tune everybody out. The second I hear Jets, Mets, I'm out.
Whenever Bogusch starts reading his updates.
Yeah. What was that one? We were talking about Yari Curry in the last one. I didn't even.
Yeah. 80s Oilers. That's the Tikin it was mentioned too.
I was. Yeah. No. I hear you. That is a good point. I know exactly what EJ is talking about, and I'm going to abstain from this conversation.
I'm not asking you to name names. We all know who they are.
I'll name a name.
Yeah, that's not going to be a satisfying.
I think we need to go to
audience.
break, guys, until it'll be easiest for everybody if we just go to break and we don't name any names.
You think Zach Martin's listening and hear me say Zach Martin's name?
The audience doesn't know Zach well enough.
If they've been here long enough, they have, because he's made more than one appearance on the general morning window here.
What's your strategy for getting out of the conversation? So when I first got, I don't say this delicately. Someone once gave me, there is an app where you can do a fake phone call. You hit it, and guess what? It's actually so good that you can set it to be like, is this from your husband or your wife? And then there's like a voice that sounds like a muffled male or female voice.
After you pick up and say hello. Wow.
This thing is like legit. I've never used it. I don't have the stones.
I was about to say, now I'm going back to every conversation I had being like, how many have been ended with an urgent phone call?
It's funny that Andrew's always calling right when you get into your groove about talking about the Knicks.
Like, Maggie, you don't understand. Stop with the minutes police. Hold on. I got a phone call. I got to go.
What's your strategy? Perloff's about to do a fake phone call on himself right now. Your name's on the show. I know you don't want to do these conversations, but sometimes you have to. What's your strategy for getting out of a conversation? You can't say turn your mic off.
I'm terrible at it. I don't have a strategy. I was actually going to look at that fake phone call thing. I don't have a strategy. I'm too nice a guy. I tend to attract talkers.
Well, with the guy
looking at me, you're like, what did I do?
I tend to be the guy who is at a dinner table and can't. I don't know how to get out of conversations. I'm awful at it.
Well,
you guys know what I mean, right? Like there's certain. I mean, Maggie, I've seen you get pinned before too. It's hard.
I can't get out of the building.
Just go mute.
I mean, at Super Bowl, for example, we all, it's a big reunion of the industry, and, oh, God, here comes this guy. And Maggie and I've seen both of us get caught in long conversations.
But that's once a year. I can do that once a year.
Right, but my point is, it's a skill to get out of that, and it's a really hard skill to have. Right. I think I'm terrible at it. I don't think you have it either.
I do not.
I don't think anyone really has it. I think it's just how much you care. I think there are good people here, so I think that's why we don't actually.
You don't want to be rude.
Yeah, of course, right.
Just give them the good old dang. That's crazy.
I mean, I told you guys
Can
already.
You believe it?
I told you guys that's my thing. Wow, that's crazy.
That's wild, bro.
Wow.
You say that to me all the time.
I know.
I'm gonna start using that. It's gonna sound a little weird coming from me. Like, wow, that's wild, bro.
Wow.
Folks, thanks so much. 855-212-4227. Okay, we will get to the Cowboys. Brian Schottenheimer cracking jokes yesterday at the Combine. It's M&P.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. .15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back. Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. All right, got an update for you from our pal Diana Rossini, Pearl. The Rams are set to meet with Matthew Stafford at their facility in person today regarding his future, according to sources. The Raiders and the Giants have discussed a 2-year contract for Stafford that includes $90 to $100 million guaranteed. A decision is expected soon. So did the Rams not go to the Combine? Maybe McVay did not. Okay, so they're meeting with Stafford in LA today. They know that it's somewhere between 90 and 100 million is what the Giants and the Raiders wanted. Do you think the Rams match Stafford with that 90 to 100 guaranteed?
I mean, they have to, right? I feel like that's a reasonable price. I mean, I am not 100% convinced they will, but they should. I have a weird feeling that maybe this is a meet and say goodbye, like a little bit of that. But it doesn't make any sense. Like, $48 million, I'm averaging it out, is a bargain for Matthew Stafford.
Yeah,
You're paying
if
Trevor
actually,
Lawrence $55. Why would you not pay Stafford?
Yeah, and Tua. I mean, I think that if it's $100 million guaranteed, I'm definitely doing it. But there's a big part of this puzzle that we still don't know yet, which is what could the Rams get for him? Like the draft compensation. Doesn't that also, is it draft compensation? Is it picks and players? What are the Giants and the Raiders really willing to part with here? I need to have that information if I'm the Rams.
But are you sure they don't know? Isn't that part of this process? Why would they not know? I can't the GM of the Rams call the GM of the Raiders and say...
Well, definitely. I think that's part of it. It's not just how much you're going to pay Stafford. That's one part of the equation if I'm the Rams. I also have to factor in, right, what am I getting?
Well, here's the thing. The Raiders reportedly will not give up the number 6 pick. So the first rounder's out this year. I don't think they're giving up the first rounder next year. I think unless the Giants or the Raiders would have let it be known if a first rounder was on the table. And I don't know if they'd be meeting today if it was. So can't we assume they know? Don't you think they already know?
Yeah, I'm just saying that publicly, that's it's not just the money. Because I think if it was just $100 million, this is signed, sealed, delivered. It's just you also have to wonder if you're the Rams. All right, what's behind door number 2, and what kind of draft compensation could I get? Right? Isn't that what they're thinking?
I don't know.
Or is it more just about not paying him?
I think it's about the money.
Yeah. All right. 855-212-4227.
Make it make sense. Like, I don't get it. He's 37. Why would they not be the team to spend the money? Why would the Giants or the Raiders need they don't need Matthew Stafford. They need Shedeur Sanders. It doesn't make the whole thing. It's one of the most bizarre little quarterback contract controversies I can remember because Matthew Stafford fits perfectly with the Rams. He does not fit perfectly with the Giants or the Raiders at all, especially the Raiders. Who is he throwing to in Vegas?
Well, if they bring Cooper Kupp with him, is a package deal, and Brock Bowers. So I got you 2 guys. and draft somebody, I guess would be the other thing.
A 32-year-old Cooper Kupp and a tight end, that's not exactly exciting me.
Let's get to the Cowboy Quickie. Brian Schottenheimer, new head coach at the podium, Pearl, says that he was asked about the run game and made a joke basically to the media. I got to be careful here because of I ran the ball too much basically and didn't let Russ cook in Seattle. So I have to be a little careful about how I'm talking about the run game. He tried to make a joke, didn't really land. That's okay. Sometimes coaches can be awkward with that kind of stuff. However, I think it's a real question, right? Like, you have Dak Prescott. He's coming off of this lower body injury. It's the second one he's suffered in, the last 4 years. The run game is going to be everything. The run game is going to be very important to what the Cowboys are trying to do. And, can Brian Schottenheimer find that balance, which I think was really challenging for him in the Seattle days?
Wait, why would the Cowboys be heavier on the run? They're paying their quarterback $60 million. Their best player is their wide receiver. Why wouldn't they spread the ball out and make life easier? To have Dak throw on first down instead of handing the ball to Zeke?
Well, Zeke it can't be. But I think the Cowboys were very much lacking in the run game, and that's your that's the best way to get the most out of your quarterback, is it not? And I mentioned he's coming off an injury.
Well, they kind of fixed it in the second half of last year. Rico Dowdle was pretty good. I don't know why. I'm not a big Schottenheimer fan. I hate first down, second down, run. Like Bobby Slowick in Houston, who got fired.
Yeah.
He was like this Brian Schottenheimer type and Arthur Smith type. I hate these I'm going to hand the ball off non-creatively guys. That's the problem with Schottenheimer. That's why you guys saw him with the Jets. Like, that's why people were shocked that Brian Schottenheimer got hired, because he was so uncreative as an offensive coordinator. He was just run. It's boring, and it doesn't seem to work. Like, defenses figure it out.
That's your Cowboy Quickie, Brian Schottenheimer.
Dude, I need Dak throwing on first down all the time there. Make life easier on everybody there. Do not put him in 3rd and 8.
I know
selectively aggressive.
Who's the draft prospect that you want to go to the Cowboys?
Well, I love Genty. If they get Genty, then hand it.
You brought it up to Emmitt Smith, and he was just like, why? Why would you put Genty in a place where he can't succeed?
Or a wide receiver. I just need something. I just need an offensive weapon. Genty would be great. I take everything off the table.
Yeah,
but I think Genty's going to be gone, by the way. He seems to be pretty hot.
Here's Schottenheimer. Let's hear from the head coach of the Cowboys.
I got in trouble for letting Russ cook a little bit back in Seattle. But some people got the joke, some people didn't. But no, I mean, again, at the end of the day, you have to be able to run the football. You know, I think we've made a commitment that we want to be great on both sides of the line of scrimmage. That's a huge part of it. The way I say it is, when teams know that you're going to run the ball, you have to be able to run the ball and conversely stop the run. But again, depending on how the roster's built and how it's constructed, we want to, be able to feature our guys.
You helped him there with the laugh track. One guy did like a huh. It's like, no, people in Seattle were frustrated with you because you would not let Russ cook. And then Russ had to come in a lot of games and kind of save everybody's bacon in the fourth quarter and run around and do these amazing Russell Wilson things because the first 3 quarters look like a slog.
Let's ride.
So, yeah, I don't know about Brian Schottenheimer.
Was he not vindicated, though, a little bit when Russ went to Denver and was terrible, and no one else has ever let him cook again?
Well, but he had much younger Russ.
Broncos country, let's ride.
And that's why he made the joke. I think he's like, look at Russell Wilson now.
Oh, you think that was?
Oh, yeah. And he's like, I'm the head coach of the Cowboys, and Russell Wilson looking for a job.
You think this was him dunking on Russ?
Yeah. I mean, I think, Schotty's face, he's taking slings and arrows everywhere he's been, but he took a lot of slings and arrows for the Seattle thing, and I think he's looking back being like, Russell Wilson has been pretty much terrible ever since he left me. And now I'm the head coach of the Cowboys.
I know, but it almost feels like he's the head coach of the Cowboys, like, by default. Like, because he was just, like, there.
I mean, it don't matter to him. He's still the Cowboy head coach. I mean, you're right, but at the end of the day, I think this was a little bit of look at me now.
Man, that's funny. If I were him, I don't know if I'd be that, I don't know if I'd have that much confidence. Like, I think the Cowboys were completely caught off guard that Mike McCarthy is not still their head coach.
Yeah.
Which is crazy because they interviewed 4 people. 2 of them satisfied the Rooney Rule. 1 was their former offensive coordinator, and 1 was their current offensive coordinator. This was not a wide-ranging, process. This is like, oh, shoot process. Like, we got to get people in here and we got to hire somebody. It felt very rushed, very caught with your pants down.
It's true, but if Russell Wilson doesn't lose his last 5 games in a row, like, I don't think he's bringing up the fact that people hated him in Seattle. I think that this was very convenient for him to bring this up because now you say the let Russ cook thing, ironically, it's like a joke now.
Man, if somehow Brian Schottenheimer is a Steph Curry-esque petty king who's like, who's got keeping receipts on people, now suddenly I'm a little more interested in this guy.
I'm the petty king.
I thought he was going to be pretty vanilla. I did not read it that way. But if we're going to be, what is he going to aim at Mark Sanchez next?
Mark Sanchez, Thomas Jones, Sean Green. Who else is in Seattle?
Oh, my goodness. I didn't even contemplate that. Schottenheimer just like taking out old foes. Wild. All right, M&P. Oh, we got some drama for you. I'll tell you about it next.
You're in a 5-minute break. 4 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
Big debate today on the future of Travis Hunter. Welcome to the show, Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. I mean, Hunter has definitely become one of the most interesting prospects they've had in a really long time, Perloff. And the fact that he's so adamant about wanting to play a full-time schedule on both offense and defense, he's not leaving a lot of wiggle room here. He's like, I know my body. I know I can do this. Don't draft me if you won't let me play both ways.
Yeah, I think you got to do it too, because obviously where he's going to draft, it's going to be a bad team. They're going to have a lot of leeway. Like, even if he's not great at receiver, he's not like the best receiver, he's still going to be good on the teams that we're looking at. We're talking about the Titans and the Browns and the Giants, like these 4 and 5 win teams. They have a lot of room to experiment here, so why not? Why not do something no one else has ever done?
Oh, because I'd be worried that he'd get hurt. I'd be worried my investment would be sidelined. And here's my thing. I don't understand why it just has to be so much about the full-time schedule. You know, even Dion didn't do that. You know, Rod Woodson, anyone else who was, played a little bit a little bit on offense, but their primary role was defense. Like, I don't understand a guy who hasn't played a snap yet, kind of calling their shot in this way. Let's see how you transition to the NFL. Is that not fair to ask a GM or a coach to say, let's see how you handle just the workload of trying to play one position to an elite level?
Right,
and then we can talk about the adding the whole other side of the ball.
Right, but you saw him do it at a totally unprecedented level in college. That's why it's different. It's not like he's just some normal guy. No one has ever done what he did at Colorado. I think I can't. No one I've ever
700 snaps on both offense and defense.
No one I've ever seen do that. So that's his argument. It's like, hey, I did this at a high level. And listen, I understand you're saying he hasn't done it in the NFL, but we haven't seen Cam Ward throw in the NFL, and we're still psyched to draft him. So I just think that you have to project in his uniqueness in college. If there's anyone who can ever do this that we've ever seen, it's him. Has anyone ever been close to this? No, Dion. Yeah. But even he's way ahead of Dion. Dion didn't play receiver at Florida State.
No, I understand it. I guess I would just say, I don't understand being so rigid about it, right? Like, that's my thing. And listen, I don't think he would, and Dion has said, like, he'll step in. I guess I don't understand the rigidity. Now, Pine Needle's in the chat, youtube.com/InfinitySportsNet. The guy's been absolutely great on both sides of the ball his entire career. Why in God's name are you guys trying to sell him short now? I'm not trying to sell him short. I'm trying to protect him, though, for the transition from college to the NFL, which is hard enough when you're just doing one position, let alone to say, all right, go out there and we're going to need you, lining up against Justin Jefferson on one side, and then we're going to need you to catch the game-winning touchdown for us on the other side. I just think that's a lot to ask of any rookie.
That just got me fired up. Let's do that. Yeah, but I mean, I think you're worried about the injuries. Probably might as well do it when you're 22 years old. That's your best chance. If he doesn't start out doing that, it's not going to be like 4 years down the road. I think especially there's no expectations to win. I think this is the time to do it. Try it. If it turns out like he gets hurt, then maybe you go the other way. I would start out with both ways and then pull it back. You can't really start out a cornerback and then say, we're going to mix you in a wide receiver. That'll just be kind of lame, I think.
Oh, man, I did totally disagree.
Like, he's not going to become a number one wide receiver after playing 3 years of cornerback.
No, but do you have a couple plays for him here, a couple plays for him there, and then you realize, all right, he could actually do this, and then you continue to work him in as you know this with guys for athletes, a lot of them, they hit their athletic prime like in their later 20s. Well, a lot of guys, because it's the combination of your head, you understand more of your body, you become, obviously like smarter, and you're still at your physical peak. I think a lot of guys reach their peak at like 26, 27, 28.
Yeah, football is getting younger though. Like running backs are ancient at 27. Wide receivers are starting to get toward the end at 28. I just think, I looked at the Eagles had 2 young cornerbacks who were pretty awesome this year.
Well, they had an awesome team, though. That's not what Travis Hunter's not walking into the Eagles.
Well, I'm just saying, I think for what we're trying to do here with Travis Hunter, I think it's fine to try this when you're young. When you're 28, this is the end of time for a wide receiver. I also think that you don't have to target him every time. Like, if you're a wide receiver, if you, say, get 5 targets a game, you're not taking that much extra contact. You're just running some extra routes. Maybe I'm being totally naive here, but I don't feel like that's so much punishment on his body to play both these particular positions.
You're still giving max effort, though, in running your routes.
No, you're not. Do Randy Moss and mail it in when you're not getting the ball.
Well, that's not exactly elite. 855-212-4227. I guess there's another part of this, too, where I really do wonder, and even if his intentions are good, how does it come across when you're like, I want to do this? And even if it's a bad team, as long as I can do this thing I want to do, then I'm cool with it. Right?
Well, I think it's better to do it in advance rather than to actually get drafted and then say it. So maybe can you give him an edge? At least he's being very clear about it and communicating. It would be terrible if a team drafted him and then he said, hey, I'm doing this or I'm sitting out. This is probably the better model.
Yeah, I guess maybe if I'm looking at a guy and I'm trying to draft him and he's a unique talent, I think I want him to say whatever you need me to do. You know? Like, how do you, if whatever you think you need me to, do to be successful, then all right, I'm willing to do it. And whether that's playing defense and also returning kicks and punts like Dion did, but he's saying he doesn't want to do special teams. He's saying I want to do offense and defense, and I don't have time for that third unit. So, we're really calling our shot here for a guy who's never even been to an NFL training camp, are we not?
Yeah, but it's a guy who won the Heisman and did something we've never seen in college football. So, no, I don't think it's a crazy caller's shot. I mean, Kobe called his shot and he didn't even play college basketball. I think in the NBA, we wouldn't even notice this because, I think more players should do this, by the way, too. Should say, if you're secure enough and if you don't need the money that desperately, say, I don't want to go to this franchise. I think it's a smart thing to do. If I'm looking around, I don't want to be on Tennessee right now. I don't want to be on Cleveland.
Okay, but see, I think that Travis Hunter's saying, I'll be on Tennessee and I'll be on Cleveland as long as you let me do my thing.
Yeah, and I think that's smart. I think he should do that. That's what if I was advising Travis Hunter, I would say go for it. I would not say, because just think about this. Say he goes to Cleveland number 2.
Yeah.
And he's a cornerback.
Yeah.
How boring is that? What's the point? He goes from this magical superstar who's on the Mount Rushmore of current athletes to just Christian Gonzalez or whatever, a good cornerback. Who cares? He's completely disappeared.
Well, because this isn't just about next year. And this isn't, if you're going to a bad team and you're investing this much into a draft pick, you hope that you have him for the next 10 years, Pearl. And it's not really, it's an entertainment league, no doubt about that. But I also want someone who's going to help me win games. Now, nobody who goes to the Browns outside of an all-time quarterback is going to get them out of the ditch right now.
I was going to ask you, would you feel differently if Hunter was saying this is what will make the team better? This, if you want to win football games, I need to be playing both sides, because it sounds like maybe that's because you're saying you were asking. This sounds selfish. He's always talking about me. Would it be different? He was saying if you want to win games, you need to play me both sides.
And I would say the best way that we can win games is you being on the field. And I don't know yet that you can handle a full-on workload.
Gotcha.
Well, here's the thing though. It's just also he's a bit of a tweener at both positions. He's listed at 6'1". I don't know. Did he get measured at the combine? He's just not a typical surefire. He's not Marvin Harrison Jr. It's not that obvious a wide receiver, and it's not that obvious a cornerback. So I don't know that you take him at either position in number 2 overall. We're talking about Cleveland.
Yeah, totally disagree on corner. He's definitely good enough.
But he's not good enough to go number 2 overall. If he's just a corner, it's very rare to pick a guy that high, and it usually doesn't work out. I guess, who was the top corner last year was Quinyon Mitchell. I just looked at this. Witherspoon went 5 to Seattle. He got hurt. But generally, though, the cornerbacks are not going top 5 anymore. It's an unusual pick to do.
Well,
so why would you do that?
Again, he's an unusual guy, and I think his ball tracking skills and how he plays as a corner is very elite.
But I think you need 3 corners in the new NFL. You can't just have one shutdown's fine. You just avoid them. I think you need a lot of cornerbacks now. I don't know if teams are going to do that. Also, cornerbacks, so I guess they don't get paid as much, so he's going to want to be a wide receiver.
See, again, now we're talking about we're talking about his second contract. We haven't even got through the first one. What are we doing here?
Well, I mean, what's the difference between this and Lamar Jackson not wanting to work out at running back for teams?
Well, okay.
Sorry, a receiver or running back, whatever it was.
Yeah, when Lamar said, I'm a quarterback, I'm not going to be a wide receiver or something like that. Yeah, that's his position. One position that he knows he has to master. He didn't say, I don't want to play wide receiver. I'm going to play quarterback and, DB or something like that.
Right, but so he was dictating terms to teams. Isn't it a similar dynamic?
I think that he was not asking to take on more of a workload, right?
Right.
He's saying I only want to do one thing. And by the way, that was only Bill Polian, right? Who said that he would have him as wide receiver. I think there were plenty of teams who wanted Lamar Jackson.
I saw a report that teams want Milroe to work out at other positions, Jalen Milroe, and he's saying no. I think this happens, especially from high school to college. It happens all the time. You say, no, I think this debate has happened before, and I think players are smart to dictate. Listen, I don't want to play that position.
Right, but here's the thing, right? If Jalen Milroe is telling people, like, I don't want to work out at any other position, I'm a quarterback or nothing, then he's going to have to live with the consequences of that. And
same with Travis Hunter.
And same with Travis Hunter. And I just don't understand why you would sacrifice either your draft, like, positioning or anything because you're so insistent on doing this thing.
But you can understand why a quarterback would want to stay a quarterback and avoid switching positions.
Yeah, but nobody is saying that Jalen Milroe is going to be a first-round pick. Like, no one's saying Jalen Milroe is not coming off of a great season. He's going to have to live with that consequence, whether or not he makes it as a QB.
I just think it's smart. Like, communicate in advance. This is what I want. And if it's what he wants, I kind of admire him. And like you said, more of a workload. Like, this is not a player who's being necessarily selfish. Like, he wants to do it all. Like, and I do think what EJ said is true. Like, I think he thinks he can help a team by playing two ways. Probably, and you know what? He can if he stays healthy. Big if.
I think if you asked a lot of professional athletes, they would feel like, the 12th man on the bench in the NBA probably feels like, if I could only just play 36 minutes, I would help this team. Like, every athlete has to think that way. Everyone has to think I want to be up, bases loaded, 2 outs, bottom of the ninth. Like, you don't get to where you are unless you think that way.
Right. But Travis Hunter has some proven success. He's a complete unique athlete
who has not played a snap in the NFL yet. Adrian is in Maryland. What's up, Adrian?
Maggie, 100 agree with you. Hasn't played a single snap. Some of the media outlets they're setting this kid up to fail. Actually, I've heard some places say he's going to shut down half the field. These NFL guys take that stuff personal, especially wide receivers. CeeDee Lamb, Jefferson, Jamar Chase, they all are going to try to torch him just to sacrifice him into the league. So we got to slow down. I think he just has to pick one position. And as they say, okay, play 1 or 2 plays, 3 plays a game at the other position, at the receiver, and then go from there. But when you think you're just going to come into the league and play, 50, 60 plays, playing wide receiver and DB, I don't think it's going to happen.
Adrian, thanks for the call.
So wait, again, we should ask everybody, like, what would you put him at? Because I think you have to make that decision. If you don't want to play him both ways,
what is he?
And I don't think it's an easy answer.
He's been interviewed by different teams for both. Some are bringing him in as a wide receiver. Some are bringing him in as a DB. Tyler's in Portland. What's up, Ty?
Hey, okay, so Maggie, I got a question for you.
Yeah.
Are practices in the NFL harder today than they were, let's say, when Deion played?
I mean, probably when Deion played, right? There was few limitations.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So we have a college player that's done something no one has ever did at this level. Play both sides this much.
Yeah.
Deion said he could do it. Deion's been through it at a harder level. So I have to trust Deion because he's seen this kid all year around. And quite frankly, none of us know. So why not give him a shot, man? I mean, it makes sense to me.
Yeah, this is the one thing, though, Tyler. I think it sounds like a fan's perspective. And I don't think that's how front offices are thinking. Like, let's just give it a shot, roll him out there. I think they're much more risk-averse and calculated.
I tell you what, Maggie, he will get a chance. And I bet you anything he will prove himself. Now, that's just a fan talking.
Yeah.
But like I said, practices aren't as hard, okay? It's all about conditioning. The guy definitely has a work ethic that is out of sight.
Clearly, yeah.
I mean, I would say watching him do what he did at the level he did it, that he definitely deserves a shot. I mean,
definitely, Tyler. See, here's the thing, though. I think this is where the disagreement comes in. I'm wondering, why does he have to play the full time on offense and defense? I'm not saying he can't.
If he can, why not?
Well, can he? You don't know and I don't know.
I did it at Colorado.
Look, Maggie, there's all kind of instances that you can say, no, you can't do that to anyone throughout history and time. And that just drives someone harder to say, yes, I can do that, and I know I can do that. And we're going to see it, and I can't wait. I cannot wait.
Listen, I hope he can wow us and dazzle us, Tyler, and thank you for the phone call. And I hope that we get – but I'm not expecting – and if I were the GM, I would not – and coach, I would not put that full two-way workload on him.
Let me ask you one question here. Yeah. Does the fact that it's going to be a terrible team, in your mind, give it more leeway to this experiment? Like these are bad teams with losing records. They can experiment. They can fool around because there's nothing to gain or lose. Why not try something different?
Well, I'm going to disagree with you there because I think it's actually like a team-by-team basis. If you're telling me you don't think the New York Giants head coach and GM feel like they have nothing to lose this year, that's absolutely false. They are looking down the barrel, staring down, getting fired.
Well, they definitely should play him. The Giants in particular should play him both ways because they're so awful roster-wise. But I understand what you're saying.
Cleveland also could be on the hot seat. So
yeah,
it's tough for me to say that.
If you're on the hot seat, then you definitely want to play him.
Exactly.
Both
so
ways.
I can't say you have nothing to lose. Like you always have something to
lose.
No.
Well, I think those teams, like, they're going to want it. They don't care about his health. They're just going to throw him out there every down that they can. But generally, I'm saying, but if you're 3-14, like, there's no expectation. No one thinks that Giants are winning the Super Bowl next year. Like, you can mess around a little bit. I understand. Dable in particular could be like, if he got Hunter, which I think would be a great fit. I think the Giants would be amazing. He could say, like, look, I've showed this unprecedented success with this guy going two ways. That might really help him keep his job. If you just draft him and stick him at cornerback and the Giants go 7-10, that doesn't do anything. I think Dable would be very tempted to try a new experiment and, like, make a name for himself. Like, I'm the coach who figured out Travis Hunter. He's definitely playing both ways in New York. That's a one team I can guarantee you he will line up both ways.
855-212-4227. I would love to know the overlap, if you will, the Venn diagram of people who think that Travis Hunter should play both ways and people who think that Shohei Ohtani should play both ways and pitch and hit. Because I don't think it's as overlappy as we think. And I know because I sit next to somebody and you who thinks that Shohei should not pitch anymore, yet you want Travis Hunter to play snaps on both sides of the ball.
Well, I think that Shohei, because of the nature of MLB pitching right now, in my mind, like, every pitcher just, every time you get out there and throw the ball 102 miles an hour, you're going to get hurt. I feel like Hunter's playing cornerback and wide receiver. It's not that hard to stay healthy. Just like keep him out, don't tackle anybody, and take off every third snap. Yeah. Actually, don't even put him out there on first down in a run situation.
I love that Perloff thinks somehow that football is easier to avoid injuries than baseball.
Than pitcher, for sure. It definitely is.
Okay, and also that anyone could get out on an NFL field as someone with the type of makeup and the expectations of Travis Hunter and can play half speed.
Well, I think
that's impossible. That's an affront to him.
Well, Randy Moss and all the great receivers mail it in on certain plays. Of course, like if it's first down,
if he's going to mail it in on a play, then don't be out on the field for that play.
Oh, come on. Wide receivers can conserve energy. I don't think. Obviously, if it's first down and you're going to do a 3-yard off tackle run, like, he doesn't need to burn down the field for 30 yards, Maggie. Come on. I know what you're saying.
I just love it. It's like Shohei's in real danger, but somehow Travis Hunter isn't, and one's a collision sport and the other one's not.
There's no position in sports worse than pitcher. I mean, name a pitcher who's not going to have surgery, and I will disagree. I mean, wait. Like, show me one. Who's a young pitcher who's not going to have surgery on his arm?
I can tell you, who's the football player who's got a clean bill of health? Nobody. And not even Travis Hunter, who did miss games at Colorado. 855-212-4227. All right, you can vote on our poll at Maggie and Pearl. Can Travis Hunter be successful playing both sides of the ball? We also have some interesting drama that's going on right now. More fallout from the Luka trade. We're hearing from all parties now, and someone's calling BS. And it looks like they're calling it on LeBron. 855-212-4227. It's M&P.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 4 minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back, Maggie and Perloff Show. Debating whether Travis Hunter should play both ways in the NFL. I don't understand why everyone, it feels like, Maggie, you and most of our listeners are saying he can't do it. But who would have ever said he could have done it at Colorado? You picked the dude to win the Heisman. You saw something special. He's amazing.
I know.
He's
Made some
totally
money off
unique.
of Travis. No, and it's not that I'm saying he can't do it. I'm talking about the insistence on doing it at the NFL level when you've never played an NFL snap. That's all I'm saying. Have a few plays for you. I get you want to show your skills, but to do this full time, both sides, I just feel like you're asking for trouble in his rookie season.
You know, he's if you ever listen to a Travis Hunter interview, though, the guy's he's pretty humble. Like, he's not.
No, he's not.
And he
doesn't come across as a me first guy. It's just he's being very insistent.
He said it's up to the organization. Whoever drafts me, I'll do what they want. I mean, he did say that.
He also said if you're not going to play me on both sides, then don't draft me.
He's said mixed things on this. He also said it's ultimately up to the organization. Like, he's a good dude. Like, I don't think you have a character problem with Travis Hunter.
Never said that
at all. No. I'm not saying like he's not going to. I think if you draft him, I don't think he's going to play super hardball on you. Maybe you disagree because you think of Dion, who will play hardball. But I think you're going to get a great young player on your team. I would draft him super high. I think he's just going to be a unique. I think he's a Hall of Famer. Like, how often Abdul Carter probably a Hall of Famer, and he probably a Hall of Famer. Those are the two guys in this draft. I'm like, wow, I would jump all over.
Yeah, I don't know about Abdul Carter with this foot thing. We talked to Dr. Rock Positano, world-renowned podiatrist, yesterday, and while he said no surgery for Abdul Carter, the pass rusher out of Penn State, he did say this is probably a chronic issue that he's going to deal with through his whole career. That scared me a little.
Yeah, but Dr. Positano didn't say he had to drop that far. He said if you could stabilize his foot, he could play.
Let's go to the phones. Neil is in San Diego. You're on the Maggie Perloff Show. What's up, Neil?
Hey, good morning.
Good morning.
I just wanted to weigh in on the conversation, and why I think Travis Hunter is a fantastic player, amazing two-way college player. I'm just doubtful that he could play up to that level in the NFL because in today's league there is so much preparation, film work, meeting, practice that goes into the wide receiver position and the DB position just to be able to play that position effectively and run the whole route tree and just be a beast at that position. You have to put so much into it. I don't think there's enough hours in the day and the days in the week between games to fully practice for the other side of the ball and put all that preparation in. I mean, I think that he could be probably good both ways, but to be great both ways, I just don't think it's possible. There's just not enough time involved for everything you have to do in today's league.
Yeah, Neil,
to get ready for that.
It's an interesting point, and you know, especially in this day and age, Pearl, where you got games on Wednesdays, Thursdays, Sundays, Mondays. Some of your weeks get real short.
Well, it's the NFL's rocket science. You have to spend 20 hours a day studying tape. I think some of that is overrated. Like, yeah, it's a good point. Like, the meeting schedule is going to kill him. That's probably true. But partly a wide receiver, especially, you dictate what he can do. He's not going to maybe learn the whole route tree, but put him out there and say, these are the things you're going to do. I think a smart coach could figure this out, right? Like, he doesn't have to be like the primary receiver. He doesn't have to be a number one, does he?
No, but you got to know the playbook. I mean, I guess the other part too is, listen, I think he could handle it from a mental standpoint. Yeah. And obviously the guy's a hard worker. He's dedicated. He's got all of the intangibles of what you'd want in a franchise guy. I guess my thing is, you know, what a lot of people tell us about the transition from college to the NFL is sometimes on college you can get by with your physical gifts. And on the NFL, that's really, really hard. Like, you have to be a smarter player.
See, again, I'm more of like, do you think that Lawrence Taylor was getting by being a smarter player? There's some guys who just let him loose. Like running back, I always think like running backs are always effective as rookies. They don't need to learn anything. Just hand them the ball and they just go. Like, I think a lot of this is, some of this football is deep intellectual science is overrated.
Well, I also wouldn't want to maybe compare myself to Lawrence Taylor's the way he prepped for games. Like, being caught in a crack house is like not something that's not sustainable. Lawrence was on his own planet.
Right, but I think like that's the level of athlete we're talking about. I see Travis Hunter as an all-time athlete. And we're talking about taking plays off as wide receiver. Randy Moss took more plays off as wide receiver than any receiver I've ever seen, and he is probably the second best receiver to ever play the sport.
Do you think that Travis Hunter is an elite receiver like Randy Moss?
I think he's
Definitely
an elite.
Not.
I think he's an elite athlete like Randy Moss. I think, yeah, like that's the kind of player we're talking about. I definitely, Travis Hunter fits in any conversation with Randy Moss. Barry Sanders, that's a lot, but yeah, I think he's like a Lawrence Taylor. I think he's an all-time athlete. I think he's going to be a Hall of Famer. I'm dead serious. I don't know what position. I think he's totally unique. I think he's as close as Dion as we've seen since Dion.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not going to put him up there with Randy Moss. On the cornerback side, I think that he is elite, but I don't know about for the wide receiver. Robbie is in Wisconsin. He's a very good receiver. Robbie, what's up, dude?
Not much. I appreciate you taking my call on this fabulous Friday.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, I'm not going to put him in the category any Hall of Famer right now. I think you got to earn that.
Yeah, Perloff's off his rocker today.
Yeah, I just can't give it to you. You got to earn it. But just, I played high school ball, and I had the luxury of playing both ways. I'm far from an NFL player, played some college ball, and I've coached and trained high school athletes. And I'm just going to tell you, the athlete does matter, right? If there's a skill set for him, you have to find a way if you want to win. It doesn't have to be the whole game.
Yeah.
But Hunter has the ability to. For me, I would, from an offensive standpoint, I'll bring you in jet sweeps. Maybe a third or fourth down. I could see him. Cornerback, I would have him out there full time. I'll have him out there on every play. But I do question his tackling ability from in the NFL, where it comes to you got bigger running backs, you got bigger players.
Sure.
I think he's going to be an outstanding cover corner. But again, there's a lot of room for him to grow, and I think it's going to be very situational.
You're going to have to tell him not to. Did you ever watch him hit somebody? Dude, that guy can, if he wants to lay the wood, he has hit people.
Yeah.
You're going to have to tell him, don't get involved in the running plays. I know that sounds bad, but just stay out of because he's kind of a hitter too.
No, he is. Thank you, Robbie, for the phone call. It's interesting about the jet sweeps and stuff like that. I just, sometimes on some of those jet sweeps, you can find yourself pretty vulnerable.
Oh God, I love the jet sweep. You don't have to learn any playbook there. Just run around. That's a great play for him. By the way, I don't think comparing him to Randy Moss and Deion Sanders, he's been compared to Deion since he was 16 years old. That's a totally apt comparison. That's not crazy. I think he's such a different, unique athlete.
I don't think anyone's compared him on the wide receiver end to Randy Moss.
No, he's not good. But as the athlete, it wasn't as Randy Moss was the greatest wide receiver. He was one of the great athletes to ever come. You ever see him return a punt? It was insane. I think as far as just superior NFL athletes, I think Travis Hunter is totally superior.
I know. I guess what I'm factoring in is does your elite cornerback skills get watered down if you're playing a full time on the offensive side too, right? So you feel no effects? It doesn't impact you at all in a negative way to be playing both sides in the NFL, not the Big 12.
Well, I don't know. If you're Deion would fly to Cincinnati to play a baseball game, and then he wasn't in any meeting rooms. Deion didn't do any of that stuff, and
there's literally one of him.
I think there's two of them. That's what I'm trying to say. I think he's so unique as an athlete. He can do this. He could be the exception to the rule. And I'd have to look at the tape. I don't know how effective Deion actually was. Maybe that's all legend. But Deion didn't really go to any meetings, and he shut down everybody. Nobody threw anywhere near Deion because you didn't want to get him intercepted and then running sideways into the end zone.
Yeah, high stepping right in your face. Andrew Bogusch is here with headlines. By the way, you can go vote on our poll at Maggie and Pearl about Travis Hunter, and you can call us at 855-212-4227. Bogues.
Guys, the Athletics now reporting that the Rams will host Matthew Stafford at their facility later today. Stafford has discussed a 2-year deal with at least $90 million guaranteed with the Raiders and the Giants. So one way or another, we may be close to a resolution here, whether he stays in LA with something similar to those contracts or they decide to trade him to one of those two teams. Travis Kelce will play for the Chiefs next season. No retirement yet. And next season's salary cap officially set at a record $279.2 million. That's nearly $24 million more than this past season. But as friend of the show, Andrew Brandt keeps pointing out, there's a lot of built-in salary growth from year to year. So this doesn't mean that teams simply have another $24 million to spend this off season.
You mean they already spent it?
It's already been spent, yeah. I guess maybe there's, you could kind of say on the back door now, because the money that you was going to grow just naturally now is accounted for and it wasn't accounted for, but this doesn't mean that all of a sudden everyone now can afford a new left tackle. You're not just getting it's not like a handout check.
Also, too, all the other teams have more salary cap space.
That too as well.
Yeah.
Luka and the Lakers just rolling along.
Luka has to throw up a prayer. It goes! He threw in a 3 to beat the shot clock and it went in. He's been unable to hit a 3 all night. And then just to beat the shot clock, he threw up a contested three. And look at J.J. Redick. He's just laughing.
Sean Ireland on Lakers radio. Luka, 21 points, 13 rebounds, 5 assists. LeBron had 33, 17, and 6 in this 111-102 decision over the T-Wolves, who also lost Anthony Edwards in the third quarter.
Ant will bring it up here with Dante, Jaden, Nas, and Nikhil. Quickly shoves off on Vincent at the elbow. He fell down to the floor, and then he's tied up. And a technical foul, and Ant's just been ejected from the game.
Alan Horton on T-Wolves radio. Edwards got his second tee because he thought he was fouled there. So did head coach Chris Finch.
I mean, it was a block. Yeah. Just call the block, and nothing happens. And after that, I don't really know exactly what was said or not said. But you just call the block. I mean, clearly it was a block.
I don't think I share coach's confidence in that being a block. Either way, Edwards also flipped the ball into the stands before leaving the court. He now has 16 technical fouls this season, which triggers a mandatory 1-game suspension.
I thought, did anyone else think when you said lost Anthony Edwards, I thought he got hurt. And then he fell in a pile? Whew.
Yeah, that was the beauty of my sentence.
Yeah. I was listening that time.
I know.
I was like, what?
I'm taken aback by that.
Anthony Edwards, I told you guys the other day, he just two-hand push Shai Gilgeous-Alexander to the ground. They ended up coming back and winning that game in a crazy fashion. Is he okay?
I think he hasn't recovered from that trade they had for the season.
Yeah.
The Karl Anthony Towns?
Yeah, I mean, the way he was talking about Cat over the All-Star break, it sounded like he wishes he was still on the team.
Nothing.
No, they're a mess. What a
disappointment. It's a frustration, right, that you can see from Edwards?
Yeah, because I think that they were a team, you're talking about a couple of wins maybe a couple, but 3 wins away from being in the NBA Finals, and the team that kind of seemed like the one team on the rise in the West, and now they're kind of in the middle of the pack with everybody else. It's a big step back.
But Randall's coming back, right? You like Julius Randle. They get some guys back, and you squint and see them being dangerous at all? I don't know.
It just seems like those guys who also went to Minnesota also don't want to be there. That doesn't help either. Randall and DiVincenzo have not been good T-Wolves.
I saw it last night on ESPN. They did top 5 dunks of the season, and they had Anthony Edwards on. Chet Holmgren was insane, was number 2. The number 1 dunk of the year was our guy, Shaedon Sharpe, which we dedicated some good time, and I watched it again. It's not the greatest dunk of all time, but it's not unfair to put that dunk in the conversation. I think it's funny. I was actually telling my wife about the dunk last night.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure she was riveted by that.
She said, "What the heck are you talking about?" I'm like, "Yeah, he's from Canada and he could jump out of the roof." And she shut me down.
So she's in Indianapolis at a work.
No, she's back.
Oh, she's back.
Yeah.
You welcomed her back with this story.
honey, so glad to see you. You'll never guess what Shaedon Sharpe did the other day.
I was on my phone, which phones really exist to have NBA highlights on them. And she's like, "What are you watching?" I'm like, "Oh, watch this dunk." She didn't care.
I do that with Andrea too, and you would think the athletic feats would be the thing. Maybe you don't care about the player or the teams, but look at this guy and it doesn't do anything.
It's like, wow,
they're
cool,
like, okay,
good for you.
Yeah,
true.
No, but my wife is all in, by the way, on the brackets that are coming up.
Did she win one year?
I think she was either first or second in our bracket next year, and I hope everyone here is spouse except for. And future spouse for EJ and Manny's imaginary girlfriend. I hope they're all involved in the bracket this year.
He's not even. We're past that.
You know what's going to happen
Even
now.
imagination says no.
What's going to happen now is somebody's going to enter the bracket challenge as Manny's imaginary girlfriend.
Yeah. Right. Manny's kiss cam partner.
Yeah. It's going to be the race to the first person to take that name.
I Frenched that thing like I was in Paris.
Yeah, she lives in Canada, guys.
Samter, I put my tongue in that thing.
Jesus, Manny. What? Is it a drop from a different show?
Yeah, I was on the Gelb show.
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh, really?
Talking about what?
Yeah.
Remember those trumpets and stuff that we used for New Orleans?
Yeah.
God.
It seems as though Samter perhaps played my trumpet after I played it. And, Samter, I put my tongue in that thing.
He went sloppy seconds on your trumpet?
Oh, yeah.
Who picks up a random trumpet?
Cut. Whatever is going on right now, this is going to be an FCC violation.
No, this is why Samter misses 9 months of work at a time. Because
he has a bubonic plague from Manny. Who picks up a random trumpet that's in the office and decides to put it up to their lips? Samter, you got to be smarter than that.
That's bizarre. That it's the one thing that has been in somebody's mouth.
100%.
There's other things where you can say, oh, maybe, basketball or whatever you want to shoot around. It's like this is the only way this thing is functional.
Yeah.
Or at the very least, it's been laying out in the disgusting open air of our newsroom.
Yeah, where like
who knows what we're breathing
75% of the people have been sick for the past 2 months.
There was a time where they had our carpets checked because there were black spots on them. They could not determine what the substance was. And Sanders out there just chugging trumpets for fun.
Hoping for mold.
Right.
I have a buddy who, when I'm drinking bottled water, asks for a sip of that bottled water.
Can't.
That's a huge transgression, right?
And did he put his mouth on it? Or you said no?
No, he said, he always says, can I have a sip? I think he's not going to, he's going to put his mouth on it.
Like you can't just like hold it so that it has this little space.
But even that's gross. But yeah, because he is obviously, whatever. I don't know. It bothers me every time. And also, you can't share soup at a restaurant, right?
Ooh,
Can I have
with a spouse.
Well, no. This happens with you and me. Can I have a bite of your soup?
A bite of your soup?
Well, like soup. Like
I did give you a bite of my soup.
Yeah, we did. This actually came up because there was gumbo or something.
But you took the first bite.
Yeah.
With separate spoons,
With
at least?
Separate
of course.
spoons.
Don't say of course. He just asked if you can share soup at a
But
restaurant
I think
out
I
of
gave
nowhere.
you the first bite.
It comes up a lot.
Clearly.
I did offer you some.
I was there. That was
Every
the first
restaurant
bite.
I go to, I order the lobster biscuit. Everyone's like, ooh, can I try a bite of that?
But if
I'm
it's
like,
family, and I give you the first bite of the gumbo, and then no one else took another bite, you can have a clean spoon first in. That's you.
That's a very smart way to go about it.
I know. I would share soup with my husband at a restaurant.
Oh, with a spouse, right?
Yeah.
But no, I would not touch anything that
It's a
has
little
been against anyone else's lips in this building.
It's also pretentious to just be like, hey, like, let me just take that water and think that you'll be okay with that. That's kind of crazy to me.
No, he asked.
Oh, no, I mean, I'm saying even to ask. I'm just like, what?
It puts me in an odd situation.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you say no, you look like the jerk, even though you're not. You're
it's
being
not good.
safe.
It's not good.
What do those black spots end up being, by the way, Bogusch?
Again, I don't think they were ever diagnosed.
It's either blood or mold.
We're waiting back from the CDC. We should get an answer soon.
This is something like from the Marvel universe. This might not be from planet Earth. These black spots here.
Like,
alien symbiote.
We haven't seen anything like this since Wuhan.
They just did construction. They just closed the room off. They sealed it. It's our old newsroom. This is where the carpet was.
Oh,
that doesn't
that's-
exist anymore. That's all they did. They just
Probably
let's put
best.
the walls up.
Just condemn it.
Yep.
There you go. That will take care of it.
But get back to the question. Has a blow-up doll ever won our tournament bracket? We're going to find out this year.
Oh, my God.
Manny's significant other.
Circled back
gets
for a
involved.
second shot
I've
at
been
Manny?
I've been sitting on that joke.
Blow Up Dog came on. I didn't know what you were talking about until we got to the end of that.
Honestly, probably is a better shot than any of us.
Yeah, by the way, not ruling it out.
Dude, does the blow? Oh my gosh! Now we got to do this.
Oh my god!
This is the one thing I will not order. I've ordered a lot of stuff on Amazon. I'm not. Those trumpets that apparently Manny was French kissing. I'm not ordering a blow up doll.
Well, remember that?
Not in my history.
Remember this building had that fake Craig Carton doll everywhere?
It's here
Still
still.
have it.
Still here. It's in the back.
Dummy carton.
There's also some kind of adult toy shaped feet that have been walking around recently. Maybe they can make some pics for Manny.
Walking around.
I'll explain in the break. Don't worry.
What?
Yeah, I heard this story.
I mean, we're already Rex Ryan's favorite radio show. Because yesterday we put a live foot on the show.
Second time. Yeah.
Andrea was not very happy about that when I showed her that clip. She was like, why are you showing bare feet?
Well, when you need to figure out what's going on with Abdul Carter's foot, you gotta go full bore.
Was it a ratings play? Maybe.
Is it sweeps week?
Yeah. Did our YouTube viewership spike? Maybe.
Yeah. Is it the kind of watchers we want? Not necessarily, but
You got 2 eyes and 2 feet. You can watch our show. Bogusch, thank you. Coming up, okay, even more drama when it comes to the NBA. We've got that and some news for you from the Combine. It's M&P.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 4 minutes remaining.
He made a prediction. Manny and EJ, they're diehard Knicks fans, living in the Big Apple. They're part of the grand plan, but they just witnessed the crushing defeat. 76ers taking the victory, man. That's hard to beat. Sitting in the studio talking about the game, Maggie and Perloff, it ain't all the same. Perloff's a Philly fan. It's hard to stand when your team's on top and your heart's in your hand. Man, Manny and EJ, they lost and confused. Knicks played hard, but it wasn't what they used to. Every missed shot, every turn, oh, they saw leaving them shocked. They can't believe what they're in for. Manny and EJ. Peter Berardi, he made a prediction, said that he gonna win. Celtics got no conviction, but now he's hiding, running away, won't own up to his words, can't face the dismay. He thought Miami would rise like the sun in the sky, but now he's got excuses, got no alibi. He thought the Heat had it, it was a sure bet, but they couldn't handle Boston, not just yet. Peter Bellotti, where you at now? You made a bold choice, but where's your wow? Can't stand the heat in the kitchen. Your prediction's cold. You're playing hide and seek, leaving us in the fold. You're playing hide and seek. Manny woke up, felt a change in the air. Manny woke up, felt a change in the air. Reached for his razor, didn't have a care. He shaved it off, that iconic mustache. Now he's just a face, lost in the mass. Oh Manny, where did you go? Without your mustache, we just don't know. Bring back the charm, the style, the flair. Grow it back, Manny, show us you care. Walked through the town, no one said hi. Strangers glanced by, couldn't recognize his upper lip bare. Out lower Mary. Landlord, Marion High, where Perloff was a nerd. At lower Marion High, where Perloff was a nerd. Ernest was the football star, always being heard. But forget about the past, let's get to Pete, the guy who skips work like it's a track meet. Or is Pendleton, thought you were the king, but Perloff's the one who's doing his thing. Oh yo, L.O. Man, he's got a windful bat swinging with flair. Behind the glass, he's waving it in the air. That bat's bright yellow, could do some harm. If he's not careful, it'll raise the alarm. EJ sitting close, looking a bit tense. He knows one wrong move could be at his expense. Man, he swings wild like he's aiming to score.
Welcome back to the Maggie Perloff Show. We'll get back to our Travis Hunter conversation in just a moment. Can he be successful playing both sides of the football, offense and defense? We have a poll question up for you at M&P on X. Right now, 69% of you say no. He cannot be a star and successful while playing full-time on both offense and defense. Mm-hmm. So you can go there and vote.
But you guys don't get to enjoy him when he does it next year.
I'm just different.
Sounds like we're hating on him. It's just like, no, we want to see him play and be healthy. But we'll get back to that in just 1 second. I do want to get to this story about the latest with Matthew Stafford, Pearl. let's get to that because Diana Rossini is reporting that Matthew Stafford is meeting with the Rams today in the facility. And according to reports, it's about 90 to 100 million guaranteed. That's where the Giants and the Raiders, who have both been talking to Stafford's agent, kind of landed. 90 to 100 million. To me, that gets me back on the Rams. If it's $100 million, I'm paying $50 million a year for Matthew Stafford. Yeah. Fine. Like I was worried he wanted the $60 million of Dak Prescott, and I was worried it was actually going to be 3 years that he wanted. If it's going to be 2 years and $100 million, and I'm the Rams and I was 20 yards away maybe in a missed blocking assignment from getting to the NFC Championship game and beating the Philadelphia Eagles in the snow, I'm bringing Stafford back.
Oh my God! In 2 seconds, I don't even know. I don't know how this whole thing even started. Maybe actually,
I'll start with the Rams saying go look for a trade.
Yeah, I mean, maybe if that's the deal that came out, then maybe that's what the Rams wanted, some cost certainty. I don't think Stafford strikes me as a maybe not play into his 40s guy. Like, I don't know if he wants to play 3 years. So I think you could do it for 2 years. Yeah, it's an absolute no-brainer. And as I keep saying, too, it's not just the Rams. Like, what the heck do the Giants and the Raiders want 2 years of Matthew Stafford? Then what happens after that 2 years is up? Then they're left completely empty.
Yeah,
so that's what I don't understand. I feel like they should be like trying to figure out either to get a young quarterback this year or next year. I don't get the timing for those teams.
I think sometimes teams are looking at a 2-year window and not necessarily looking at a 5-year, 6-year window.
What kind of 3-win team looks at a 2-year window?
I'm just saying, I think there are people who want the Band-Aid, and sometimes it's over a bullet wound, which is really hard. But I think they want a Band-Aid or a microwave or whatever you want to call it to say, we got to get back to respectability. We got to find a way to put fans in the stands, like all that stuff. It's a different calculus when you're a team that's been bad for a while.
But in the NFL, that doesn't happen. You only get the veteran $50 million quarterback and the free when you think you're about to win. I feel like generally, because the problem is if you get that guy, then you're not going to get the next guy. Like you're not going to find your Josh Allen. You're not going to find your, help me out here, who's another good quarterback? You're not going to find your Patrick Mahomes. If you have Matthew Stafford, you're going to win too many games. You're never going to be able to draft a guy. Your salary cap's all messed up. So the Rams are the perfect team. There's no other team that fits like the Rams. He knows the offense.
So do you think our Stafford situation is resolved by the end of the day?
Oh, my God.
And this was what, much ado about nothing? At least he got a ski trip out of it, right?
Well, it is an NFL offseason, so of course it's much. We're playing, and the agent is playing this like a violin. Like we're all like basically blowing up Matthew Stafford's price all offseason.
Well, but here's the thing: he's actually a difference maker. We're talking about these guys who are going to get drafted at the top and go to these teams, and it's not going to impact winning right away one bit. You know, you send Abdul Carter to a bad team, you're still going to be a bad team. But you send Matthew Stafford to a mediocre team, maybe you see a real difference. Maybe you're now talking about a playoff team. So I kind of get it. I think that it did matter, and it does matter where he plays next year.
No, I know, but I also feel sometimes you get this idea that the agent is playing everybody, that basically he's using the Raiders and the Giants to get more money in L.A.
Well, the Rams told him to go shop.
But then you feel like at the end of the day, like why did I invest? If I'm a Giants fan, why did I invest so much energy thinking about Matthew Stafford when this was all just a way to squeeze $8 million out of L.A.?
Well, I mean, listen, it all depends on how much you want to pay attention to this stuff. So,
well, I just feel like once again, I mean, Manny, you're a Giants fan. Like you'll be like, oh God, they just use us, and we're gonna still stink, and I just feel like the other teams might end up looking stupid.
I don't like football. I don't love this situation. I'm over it all.
I don't think you look stupid for trying. Never look stupid for giving effort. 855-212-4227. All right, we got some major drama here. And someone is calling someone out. I think they deserve to, quite frankly. Get to that next. It's Maggie and Perloff. Don't move.
You're in a 5-minute break. 4 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining.
Oh boy, I have a read. Okay.
Oh, Maddie, put that bat away. Someone's bound to get hurt today. AJ rolls in, he's got that hungry look. Sitting down for breakfast like a king in a nook. Give me that croissant and make it fucking nice. And don't forget that fresh squeezed OJ is my vice. He's just ordering big, what a fucking sight. 30 bucks on breakfast, man, it's out of sight. And you girl lost sweat and can't escape this shit. Lost the bet, now he's paying, it's a hell of a fit. EJ's rocking that throwback fit. Nyko's repping the Mets, no quit. Classic jerseys looking so fly, but there's one question we gotta ask why. Where's Pete? He's not here today. Missing in action, always MIA. EJ's got the old school style. Nico's looking fresh like a jersey owl, but Pete's nowhere in sight. Oh, what a plight. Oh, Uncle Sam's got his turkey day plans. Sipping bourbon from a can, yeah, that's his stance. He's got the Maggie Perloff show on blast. Feeling thankful and tipsy, talking fast. Uncle Sam, he's the man, with a drink in his hand and a wild family plan. Chatting up a storm about freedom and fuss, complaining about censorship and making a fuss. Daly's in the chat, shouting out loud, hey, let us speak free, don't censor the crowd. But Drunkle just laughs with a grin and a wink. He's got Maggie. Oh, glorious spot, 4 years in the stream. Through the chaos and laughter, the wildest dream. You've seen Mirage stumble, you've seen Mirage fall. Droopy man boobs and chicken wings, he's done it all. From hoops in his pants to wings in his throat, every moment's a story, every mishap a note. But as the Twitch chat roared, one truth was clear: the biggest nonsense Peter Bellaghy ain't here. Amy Lawrence in her power, but wait, hold up, no seat in sight. Her chair is gone this quiet night. Odyssey's finest, infinity's pride. Now Amy's pacing, no place to slide. She scans the room, but it's just air. A burning question: who took my chair? Ooh, who stole Amy's chair? Was it Zach Jones with his innocent stare? Orion hit you with it with his towering hair. It's not
becoming
people.
the face of the league. And to paraphrase what he said, he's like, I don't want to be the face of the league. That's really something for Victor Wembanyama. And also, I don't want to deal with the criticism or the, attention, the negative attention that comes with being the face of the league. Right. Now, newsflash for Anthony Richardson. Anthony Edwards and Anthony Richardson. You're going to get criticized no matter what, whether you're the air quotes face of the league, which is not like a real thing. It's like an agreed upon thing.
Yeah.
You're going to get criticized probably no matter what, because that's what happens when people live in the public eye. It's just how much do you want to pay attention to it. Now, LeBron, who is the face of the league and has been for quite some time, was asked about it yesterday, and he says he completely understands why Anthony Edwards does not want this moniker.
I mean, it's unfortunate, but I don't know. Why do you want to be the face of a league when all the people that that cover our game and talk about our game on a day-to-day basis on everybody? I mean, that responsibility. It's just weird. It's weird energy from the people that I don't know.
Okay, more from James. So he's saying there, why would you want to be the face of the league when people who talk about the league and cover the league talk badly about the league so much? He said on a daily basis. More from James. Didn't ask to be the face of the league, but he knew it was a responsibility coming his way.
And said he don't want it. Obviously I didn't ask for it, but I knew there was a responsibility for me, not only to my family, my friends, my community, and whoever that was going to follow my journey throughout my career. Not only in Ohio when I started there, but all over America and all over the world when I traveled all over the world. So I've always taken that seriously and understood from the beginning what being a professional was all about and being a role model was all about.
Last one from James. Says he understands where Anthony Edwards is coming from, that he doesn't want this type of attention.
I feel I understand. I completely understand. This is weird energy when it comes to that. So.
Okay, weird energy about being the face of the league because you get criticized by the media.
Is Anthony Edwards widely criticized? I totally missed that. For what?
No, I think LeBron is widely criticized, but maybe he feels that way. I guess here's what I would say about LeBron, and I think what they're talking about is mostly inside the NBA, right? So
is that all they're talking about? Is one
Kenny,
show?
And Shaq. I mean, listen, it's a show with a lot of influence. So
it's four guys. That affects the entire state of how LeBron feels about the NBA. He's got four guys.
Come on, man.
I guess I would ask this. I mean, maybe I don't know. He'd have to get specific. Is he talking about Charles, Kenny, and Shaq? Is he also talking about on social media where you get a lot of backlash? Now, LeBron is also, because he's so famous and at times so polarizing, he's even gone, the Fox News people have taken shots at him. And, it's crossed over, right?
Wait, some of that LeBron stuff goes beyond the actual basketball game, for sure.
Let's talk about the sports part of it, though, right? About, being the face of the league. This is what I would ask LeBron James. Would you trade the type of impact you've had on people and influence you have for the criticism? Because, being criticized by the media is one thing, but let's not pretend like LeBron hasn't become a worldwide figure who enjoys not only influence, but, riches and all of that because he is the face of the league. So would he say, listen, I'd give it all up. I'd give up all the positive influence that I've had, building my school, doing all the other things that come with being the face of the league. I'll give it all up if just Charles and Kenny would get off my back.
No, I says I'm going to knock your ass out.
I don't think he would.
Wait, do Charles and Kenny come after LeBron? That's another thing I'm missing. Besides, I don't even think they're that negative. For one thing, Shaq has been talking way too positively about Joel Embiid his whole career. I'm like, Shaq, what are you seeing? I've always wondered, have they been killing?
Loves the big man.
Do they kill LeBron? LeBron is LeBron. I mean, he's the consensus number 1 or 2 player of all time. I don't feel like LeBron has taken criticism, but I don't feel like it's out of balance. He also gets praised all the time. He's LeBron James.
He took criticism in a few big things. One, for passing the ball too much, I think, in big spots early in his career.
Right.
And for the
which is kind of fair.
And the decision.
Yeah. We all hate the decision, but that was 14 years ago.
I think he's made amends for that. I would say
is that what he's talking about?
Well, I would say on balance that he gets a lot more positive coverage I think basketball-wise, I think people marvel at what he can still do at 40. Yeah. I think, maybe LeBron is a little, some of the stuff looks a little look at me, but I think we'd also say, well, the guy's kind of earned it. I think there's another thing if you're saying about this era getting criticized. Take it away specifically from LeBron. I think this era gets criticized a lot because, people don't like the amount of three-pointers. Maybe people don't like how guys switch teams all the time and can resent some of the player empowerment. But
load management,
I think, is a huge one. And so I think this era being criticized is one thing, but being the face of the league, I think you generally, the power and influence that comes with that title, I think generally outweighs the criticism you'd get.
Oh, yeah. But
is
to
what
me,
I would say.
I don't even see the same way. I'm like, ooh, how old is LeBron? He's what, 40?
40.
Yeah, 40. He's the ultimate millennial. Of course he thinks he's over-criticized. He wants everyone just to be super nice to him. This is like, to me, that's how I see the entire millennial generation.
Oh, that millennials like me and EJ, we can't take criticism?
Yeah. Sorry.
Here's the other part about this. I think not to bring it back to this sports radio topic, but I do think the LeBron Jordan part of this conversation probably adds to some of the agita that's around LeBron for some people, right? Because his insistence, in a lot of ways that he's past Jordan really chaps the what gen are you?
Gen X.
Gen Xers like you. And so, you think the millennials can't take criticism. I think the Gen Xers are really quick to, to kind of feel like you got to put LeBron down because how dare anyone ever compare him to Jordan?
Well, I think it's I think
layered.
actually I don't think I understand what you're saying. There's probably some truth to that, but I think LeBron looks at Michael Jordan and said nobody ever criticized that guy. Like he's saying in the past, everybody was on board with Jordan, and now everybody's critical. That I think there's two separate issues. Is that fair to say? Because I do think nobody criticized Jordan. Why would you criticize him? He won the title every year.
Not every year, but the revisionist history on Jordan will be the same type of revisionist history that we're going to do on LeBron, by the way.
But he got killed before. Like, Jordan did take criticism until he started winning every year. Then,
so did LeBron.
What are you going to criticize?
But LeBron has won, and he still continues, because I think the Jordan comp plays into this perceived negativity. Because, again, I think it makes the Jordan people feel insecure, and it really hurts the Jordan people, like, on a deep level. And I think it probably looks like criticism to LeBron when it's really just a sports debate.
I just think at the end of the day, if you're the flagship show of the NBA and you talk so often about how this generation of players aren't good, the style of play isn't good, it's a different thing. It's different than social media, or it's different than some guy on his couch talking about it. When this is not some podcast, right? This is Inside the NBA is a flagship NBA show. Like, we can downplay it as four guys, but it's not. They're literally doing the games that are being called, and sometimes they're talking about the players that are literally playing in those games.
Yeah.
And I think that there's a frustration with constantly always having to be compared to other eras. Sure. So you mentioned Michael Jordan. I can go to every guy that's won an NBA championship for the last how many years, and all of them have had something they've had to come overcome. Jokic, he's a stat patter, said on ESPN. Yeah. Giannis, he's got no bag, said on ESPN, said on Inside the NBA. Every single guy that comes up to a point, as great as they are, it's like we can't appreciate their greatness because they haven't won a title, which gets back to the ring culture.
But can you be critical of a guy? Like I think if the criticism gets personal, that's where
it has gotten personal.
It has gotten personal, but I think that's where it oversteps. Whereas opposed to if you're saying Jokic is a stat patter, like that is actually a sports conversation. I don't think that is so out of bounds or means that you hate the league. I would also say I don't think this is just unique to basketball. I feel like I watch Al Michaels sometimes on these Thursday Amazon games, and he's openly has disdain for the product that's on the field, and I don't think it hurts the NFL, and I don't think the NFL players really care.
Yeah, I mean, also, too, I think if TNT all of a sudden got positive, people don't want to see that. Nobody's just going to want to watch positive coverage of the NBA.
Like, a lot of people do want to see positive
when they
coverage.
deserve it. When you deserve positive coverage, right? When you do things that are unbelievable, that's also, you got to tell the true story of the sport.
I don't think that's entertaining. I think ESPN and I think like when the media is critical, it's more fun to watch and it makes the whole thing more interesting. Like, honestly, I think if TNT all of a sudden got positive, then somebody else is going to get negative, and everyone's going to want to watch that. Like that's why. Why do you think people like Inside the NBA compared to ESPN?
Because they're funny. It has nothing to do with being
Very
negative.
entertaining.
Every clip we play from Inside the NBA on the show is because they're having a good time. It's not because JJ Redick's an idiot or something. Like that's not the fun part of that show.
Supposed to be 1, 2,
I don't
3,
know.
not
I
one,
feel like
back to
I
one.
feel like people like to see guys get ripped. Like it's entertaining.
I just think when we compare how the league is compared to other sports, and maybe Al Michaels is a fair point, but I
that's
think
ridiculous.
if you
Football
look at-
guys get killed all the time. Every player gets killed.
I don't
except
think-
We
Mahomes.
make fun of Aaron Rodgers a lot.
How about Lamar Jackson gets killed? Josh Allen gets killed. Everybody gets killed in the NFL.
Right, but it's not about. You're talking about with Aaron Rodgers. It's not about his play. It's about all his other stuff.
Well, and sometimes it's play.
Sometimes it's play, but a lot of
Lately.
times it's not. We all acknowledge Aaron Rodgers is a great quarterback, right? We all acknowledge there are guys who are some of the best players who've played in this game the last 10, 15 years, and there's question marks whether they're even good.
Right.
Every time I say, hey, you know what, Russell Westbrook had a good career, I got to hear Perloff say he's terrible.
Yeah.
But like that's my point though, is that like when it's different. It's just a different energy, and I think there's not really a celebration of the league.
Well, so
and I think
here's
that's
the
why
thing,
these guys
EJ.
are upset about it.
A lot of times,
have some big old
though,
women.
they did call James Harden like the great scorer of a generation, too.
No,
Like,
that was Maury. That wasn't the media.
Oh, get out of here.
I think there was
the
a lot
media
of
voted him MVP.
I think that the media members are the ones who made him the MVP. But I asked
He
you,
earned
like,
it.
I asked you though, like, who is there not a joint responsibility when you, like, honestly, I think the person who really could actually have a gripe here would be Durant. Durant, who's actually had this top 15 of all time career, who gets called a bus rider and who gets this and that, right? And he gets criticized. But I ask you, would we all say that Kevin Durant is completely innocent in this conversation because he made a decision to join a 73-win team?
Come on,
you
bro.
know people aren't just going to welcome you in with a red carpet for that. And he goes back and forth with people on social media and appears to look petty. So, I don't think you can blame only one side. I do think there are guys who do contribute to, like, it's a stars league, and sometimes the stars kind of behave sort of
Besides
like
Durant,
me first.
He's an idiot.
Who else?
James
shoots back?
Harden.
James Harden shoots back at the media.
Oh, at the media, Russell Westbrook. I mean, you're talking about him. He definitely fans, media.
Fans for sure. I mean, sure, okay. Russell Westbrook hasn't been a star in a long time now.
That's fair. But again, like that has like a lot of influence. I mean,
Well, I'll tell you one thing. Like, don't tell me Steph Curry gets a lot of criticism, because like I feel like Curry doesn't get criticized a lot like Durant. Like nobody, I know he's petty and all that, but generally I feel like Curry has been above all the criticism, and the media kind of loves him.
Yeah.
But they also blame him for the style of play. It's yes, maybe he's not getting the direct arrows, but what he has brought to the NBA is constantly told over and over again that this is bad, that all the shooting the three-pointers is bad, and these stats are inflated. Like, I mean, at a certain point, if you're constantly comparing yourselves to previous eras, you can't win. You're chasing ghosts.
Okay, but I ask you though, is the NBA by a lot of metrics, aren't they winning? The guys are richer than they've ever been. They are getting, I mean, it's the salaries are amazing for them, right? Yeah. I mean, the super max is $350 million. You just re-upped your television contracts for billions of dollars. Like, the All-Star game sucks. Okay, well, look at what hockey just showed us. That's fixable. You just find the right gimmick, and all of a sudden everyone's going to be into it. Like, I really ask, like, where?
What's LeBron complaining about?
Kinda.
He just made $1 billion.
Well, I'm not just saying it's the money, but that's cool. But he also has this great influence. He does have his school. He does get awards. He also gets a lot from this that I don't think he would trade for Charles and Kenny poking a few jokes at his hairline.
Adam Silver has said that this is the most depressed group of NBA player he's ever dealt with. He's been in the league for multiple years.
It's also the most depressed group of young people that we've ever seen in our world. And they're young people just like Manny's generation. Right. And you guys unfortunately are very depressed.
Oh, yeah, very sad. Maybe social media and the phones too. Maybe that plays into it.
I don't think guys they'll say that they don't talk to each other on the team planes anymore. And everyone's just kind of into their phone as opposed to doing like the team building and bonding and
I'll
stuff.
tell you what, we call a guy street clothes. We talk about Zion being fat. Like, I mean, some of this stuff is just like I don't see how this stuff doesn't get personal.
Look like Chuck and me had a baby.
How about Luka? Luka.
Oh my God,
Doncic, I mean, he's been run through the ringer, and that hasn't necessarily been the media. That's actually been the Mavs, so I wouldn't really put that on the media per se. But I mean,
Fat Harden. No, we've done this.
I mean, I feel like it's. I just feel like with other, I just don't think there's other sport where we look at the style of play, and I know because I've introduced this conversation in the NFL and it goes nowhere. That we look at the way these guys play is hurting the league. And these guys aren't as good as the guys that played in the 80s. We wouldn't say that about baseball. We wouldn't say that about hockey. We wouldn't say that about football.
I'll tell you two things. I think what you're hitting at, too, is guaranteed contracts annoy people. So James Harden gets, like, multiple years with this huge money and then puts on weight and disappoints. And we kill baseball players for that, too, by the way. And baseball has become irrelevant, too. It's not just the NBA. Like, MLB would kill to get criticized by some show. Like, nobody even cares about baseball on the national level. So, I don't know. I feel like the guaranteed money with Harden was a problem. I think people see, like, he's getting $60 million. The NFL, if you disappoint, you just get cut the next year. Like, I think people, the money does make it, maybe fair or not, when a guy's getting a $300 million contract and then inevitably gets old, like, he's going to get a lot of criticism. But LeBron, I do agree, like, LeBron should get criticized. He's out of control good for a 40-year-old. So,
oh my God, he's redefining what it means to age as an athlete.
I don't think he gets criticized so badly. I think he's being oversensitive.
From basketball people.
And I apologize for ripping all the millennials listening. But it just seemed like, why was it?
And we don't accept your criticism nor your apology.
But LeBron was just so, like, sad in that little quote. I'm like, come on, dude, you're LeBron James. You are playing amazing basketball and producing 3 films simultaneously. Like, you have it all.
Yeah, if LeBron can't be happy, I mean, what?
I mean, yeah, right, exactly. Like, what?
That Netflix show, he looked pretty happy.
Maggie, I mean, the guy is putting in $1 million into his Halloween costume on Netflix. Like, he's leading an incredible life.
When we talk about LeBron James, I mean, did he not just have a bunch of questions about what kind of father he is because of the Bronny thing? Of course he did.
Oh, well, that was Stephen A.
If you're asking us not to,
these are the people
to make fun of Bronny, then forget it. Then you're just going.
Okay, but you give Stephen A. the oxygen. Really? Like,
he's going to run for president. Like, this is not a small figure.
Okay, but here's the thing. But you like, it's like the Doug Gottlieb. Like, yeah, LeBron also shot back at Doug Gottlieb. Like, you choose whether or not you want to give oxygen to Stephen A. and Doug Gottlieb. LeBron,
stay off the weed.
LeBron could always. He's so famous, respected, everything as an athlete. If he wanted to stay on the high road, he could take it forever.
By the way, EJ, you're not saying that we shouldn't make fun of Bronny, right? Because that's a bridge too far.
No, I'm saying the personal aspect of it.
I'm
taking shots at Bronny.
yeah.
But, like, you're talking about why he feels this way. I think that, these are the things that bother people.
That's it.
Bother him.
That's the bottom of the line of this.
What's that?
He's upset because people are making fun of his son. Is that why he's so sensitive?
Yeah, but we're talking about face of the league stuff. That's pretty far away from the nepotism stuff. Also, LeBron has to know he's going to get a little criticism for that, and I don't think he cared.
Yeah.
I just think there's a basic level of if you don't like the NBA, why are you covering the NBA? And I think that's a question a lot of fans ask. If you watch some of these shows and you watch some of the coverage of this guy not being good, that guy not being good, the style of play sucks, this game that's on sucks, then why are you doing this?
Okay, but
you
here's
could
the thing.
put someone on there that would totally be fine talking about the Thunder versus the Bucks. There's a good reason to want to talk about those teams. Right. If you don't want to do it, don't do it. Nobody's put a gun to your head.
Well, but you said it. It's an entertaining show that's funny that people like to watch. So I'm talking about for TNT's part of it. And, there's another part of this, too, where you can say that about, you don't like what's going on in this country, leave. Listen, I don't hate it's not that I hate the country, but you can disagree with some things in the country. It doesn't mean that you want to get up and move to Kazakhstan. Like, you can love the sport and still be critical of it.
No, I think if you are critical of sports because you love the sport, I think those guys love the sport, and that's why they're upset at this. I think that's a sign of love for the game. I don't think it's like, and also, too, it'd be so boring if they were kind of positive. Like, you don't want them to be overly positive because then it sounds like they're shills.
You want to be authentic.
It's a hard line. Yeah, I kind of like the criticism. I think it's fine. I think it adds to the drama. These guys are also former players, so yeah, I am going to continue to make fun of Russell Westbrook. I don't care what you guys say.
No one's taking that away from Perloff. Not you, not Chuck, not Kenny.
Hey, come on, EJ. Say something nice about my Sixers. How can you not criticize teams that are supposed to be good and then stink?
But I think it's just the pendulum. Like yesterday on the show I did earlier this week, Tim Hardaway says that LeBron's not a great scorer. Like some of these things is just like, all right, like what are we actually doing? And we laugh.
Literally is the scoring title.
He's the most points ever.
But also, it's Tim Hardaway, so like maybe he's got an axe to grind. I don't know.
But I don't think that Tim Hardaway is some like fringe. Like I think that's the difference. Is I think that you guys think that like these people aren't inside the NBA or any other show. Like they're the fringe. I think these guys deal with that when they leave the court. I think they deal with fans who parrot a lot of things they hear on TV. I think it doesn't help the league. We talk about the league making a lot of money, but the sentiment around the NBA is down. I don't know how talking about the NBA in a negative way
salaries
helps.
are up. I think that's
Right.
some of the older players look at what guys are making and are just like, come
Yeah,
on.
that's
totally.
I think there's a little jealousy.
I think the fans too. The fans are like, "What are you complaining about? You're making $500 million." The playoffs are going to be great this year, but the regular season's too long and load management sucks. I'm just putting that out there. The playoffs, just go to the playoffs.
Clip
That's
that,
my
send
final.
it to Adam Silver.
And they all know it. Cut 20 games out of this
Listen,
season, then we'll all come back.
Adam Silver tried to cut 5 minutes off of each
I know.
quarter, and people were like, "Get him out!"
Yeah, I was going
Get
crazy.
him out of here. Okay, lots to do. You can weigh in on the state of the NBA at 855-212-4227. Do you think the players today have anything to complain about with media being critical, like Charles and Kenny and Shaq? Let us know. Okay, lots to do, including, more from the Luka trade. We got to get to this, and we will do that next.
Supposed to be 1, 2, 3, not 1, 2, back to 1.
Perloff, NBA, it's on our minds because
Slide. She scans. AJ's at the bar with a cold, cheap beer. Says Trae Young's no big deal, don't bring him here. But the Knicks lost again and it's starting to show as he punches the jukebox playing Old Town Road. I'm over Trae, he shouts as he tips his hat, but his phone's buzzing with Hawks game stats. Pickups parked outside, girls waiting to ride, but EJ's ranting about Trae instead of his bride. EJ don't care about Trae Young, no way, but he's crying in his beer when the Hawks outplay. Just a small town punk with a lucky streak, but Trae's living rent free every Knicks lost week. AJ's got a shotgun rack and a pickup truck. Trae can't break my spirit, I don't give a. He's got a girl on the side, but she's feeling ignored.
Andrew Perloff loves his turtle, call it chill shot bliss. He feeds it kale and lettuce, then gives it a little kiss. Andrew Bogusch's turtles got a mansion in the tank with a slide, a tiny hammock, and a treasure chest bank. Two-tone Tony rolls in, his turtles got swag, cruising slow but steady, repping that reptile flag. Meanwhile, Kevin LaMelle's got tacos on his plate. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner, he's got no time to wait. Turtle love, taco dreams, Andrew living supreme. Two-ton Tony, slow and steady crew. Kevin's got breakfast tacos, what's Peter gonna do? Yo, Perloff's turtles chillin', basking in the heat. Bogusch's turtles flexing, got gold chains on its feet.
Eight night vibes, hitting up the show. Maggie and Perloff dropping takes that glow. In the chat, Stunna Filmo runs the scene, spitting fire so hot it makes the snow seem mean. Down in Louisiana, Uncle Sam's lit. Rare snow on the ground, but he don't give a shit. Snow in the south, man, what the fuck's this? While Bilott's ghosting work, he's always dismissed. Stunna Filmo dropping shit like whoa. Uncle Sam's buzz, snow on the floor. Daily says time to bust the plow now, while Bilott's at home chilling somehow. Filmo spitting truth, he's the chat's big hitter. Drunkle Sam slipping whiskey in his glitter. Maggie's crushing stats, Perloff's got the flow, and Bilotti, he's like, work? Hell no. Daly's cracking jokes, where's that one plow? Louisiana snow, it's rare as Pete somehow. Stunna's calling out, Sam's laughing out loud. Bilotti's excuses, bury them in a snowbound cloud. Stunna Filmo dropping shit like whoa. Truckle Sam's buzz, snow on the floor. Daly says time to bust the plow now, while Bilotti's at home.
Born in the summer of '94, Zach Kell came to play. From Philly to the airwaves, making noise every day. Temple's pride on whips, sports director in the booth, and turned a '94 whip. Larry sharpened up his
Eagles post games making Mondays funny. Late nights on CBS, the Mad Dog in the mix. Now he's prime time 3 to 6. From the Jersey air on Fox Sports 9:30. The Eagles post games making Mondays funny.
There's a brand new rule in the MLB. The golden at bat sounds fancy to me. But don't get excited, it's not what you think. Kinda like a shower, but one you don't wanna drink. It's a wild card swing, a shot for the stars. A chance for the bench guys who don't have the scars. But if you're thinking it's classy, better hold your applause. It's the kind of gold that makes you question the cause. Golden at bat, yeah, it sounds kinda strange. Like a wet joke, you wish you could change. MLB's new twist, a hit or a miss. Feels like a prank that we can't.
There's a YouTube legend, better take note. Jamie's in the chat and he's ready to gloat. Calls him like he sees him, don't need no filter. Two bum clowns, no knowledge, can't build a winner.
Down in San Antonio, there's a man you should know. Kevin Lamelli puts on quite a show. 50 push-ups, 50 sit-ups with your squats in a row. He's got a shrine at half away. Photos lined up like a Broadway play.
45 seconds
Whispers her
remaining.
name in the dead of night. In his dream, she's the guy. Manny's desk is a circus, it's a sight to see. Got a coffee tower teetering dangerously. Strange brews from who knows where, with labels all in code. One smells like gasoline, another like a toad. And in the corner, what's that shimmer? Oh, it's Manny's trusty nose hair trimmer. Polished chrome, it's his pride and joy. Clearing paths like a landscaping toy. Oh, Manny's desk, it's a wild display. A mix of chaos and a fine cafe. From coffee.
Welcome back, Maggie and Perloff. Just had a really interesting debate about, is the NBA coverage too negative? I got all these tweets. I was just looking at my phone about all the other things. Charles is negative about everything. Charles Barkley of TNT. Galveston beaches, the women of several cities. Like, Charles goes after everyone. So
he's an equal opportunity offender.
It's not just the NBA.
But they do have some big old women.
EJ said this last time, but it is kind of funny.
I mean, didn't he almost like come to blows with some people? I think in Golden State, right?
Yeah, it was
And
San
Victoria
Francisco.
definitely
What's
a
that?
secret.
Yeah, San Francisco.
San Francisco, yeah. He was like really going back and forth with the crowd in a way that I think got a little intense.
Yeah, they were screaming at him. I saw that. He did a live show there, and they were all over him.
Which I think is something, right? Like, you know, we talk about these players like being sensitive and stuff. Well, Charles Barkley, you know, shoots at the Warriors and their team, and then he goes to San Francisco, and then, you know, he wants to throw stuff in the stands. Like,
whatever your name is.
Yeah. He's like a unique kind of thing, though. He's his own entity.
Yeah, I mean, people ask Charles Barkley about stuff that's so far away from sports. Like, they want his thoughts on politics. They want his thoughts on the state of the country. Like, he's kind of one of those unique ones.
It's the first time I ever heard police presence.
Let's go to T Money, who's in Tucson. What's up, T Money?
Yeah, hey, thanks for laughing at my name. You know, as far as being sensitive, I don't know, dude. Like, the NBA, like, if we're just talking about stuff that's off the court all the time, that's the only news the NBA makes, right? It's never what's on. And then dudes are crying about it. And I'm like, if you don't care, if you guys don't care about your sport, then I don't care. If you're playing lackadaisical and load managing and doing all kind of crazy, jacking up threes somehow, I don't care. I don't care anymore. And if you show me that you care, then I will care again. When I was young, Jordan cared. That's why he's the GOAT. LeBron, he's just kind of half-butt and lackadaisical, and he gets super sensitive about stuff. I'm done, man. I'm done.
Wait, T-Money, come on. Hold on one second. LeBron James is lackadaisical? Like, okay, you want to say, but there's been a couple games where he takes a little off on the defensive end. Dude, he's 40.
Yeah.
Right, I get it.
You don't
40,
think he's
and
committed to winning?
Hey, you know what? The difference between Mike and LeBron is Mike was winning Defensive Player of the Year award.
Sure.
LeBron hasn't won that. He doesn't play defense. He's, I guess, what is he? He's D'ing up the worst player on the team, according to Spiffy T or whatever his name is. Like, come on, man. Like, everybody sees it.
Wait, but T-Money, I mean, yes, LeBron James is not winning. Well, he actually makes some all. Does he? LeBron made an all-defensive team? I think that he actually has.
He was a runner-up for Defensive Player of the Year.
Well, I will tell you.
I was going to say, he's not terrible.
And J.J. Redick yesterday said that he's right. He's been playing all NBA Cowboy defense this year.
The other part, too, is LeBron's a way better passer than Jordan ever was. So one skill set, another skill set.
Oh, I don't know about that. Jordan could pass the ball. He's not way better. He's just more willing.
Come on.
They compare LeBron to Magic Johnson.
You should see some of Jordan's passes. But yeah, again, Jordan could do no wrong. By the way, LeBron he's not lackadaisical, but I remember last year with that Lakers game. When LeBron is off camera, I actually saw in the middle of an offensive set for the Lakers having a discussion with Maverick Carter on the sideline and laughing about a movie. He takes plays off. Did
anyone say that about Reggie Miller, who was drawn back and forth with Spike Lee? I mean, this stuff happens.
He wasn't taking that play off. There was 8 seconds left in the game. I'm just saying, like, the NBA, I do think, like, and maybe it's my imagination, like the Stars, for whatever reason, went a little harder for 82 games, 40 minutes in the past. It was stupid, come to think of it. But, like, I do think there's some validity to that argument. Like, now the culture has changed a little bit where you want to conserve energy. That is fair to say.
I think the load management is sometimes not just the players, right? And I think you can find examples of both. Like, I can give you a Joel Embiid, I think, which really annoys people that he doesn't play and that.
Well, he's hurt all the time.
Well, now he's hurt all the time, but
he wasn't a particularly bad load manager. He can't stay healthy.
Okay, and what is one of the reasons? Doesn't take care of his body. You called him a non-serious player. People like that. But I never watch Shea Gilgeous. I don't watch Donovan Mitchell. I don't watch Anthony Edwards and think, man, these guys are really mailing it in. Wow, I don't watch Jalen Brunson and think, boy, I really am getting scammed here on a ticket. Now, he really doesn't play defense, but I still feel like he's trying.
I don't know. I watch a lot of NBA games where sometimes a game feels like it's going one way and it feels like the teams just exit. Like I've seen but maybe that's.
But I saw the T-Wolves come back from a 22-point deficit against the OKC the other night.
Massive comebacks this year.
Prime times felt pretty flat to me. Like, and you mentioned something earlier. Like the Bucks are on every damn TNT game. Like nobody wants to see the Bucks. I'm sorry, they're just boring.
I don't know why they keep putting them on. I don't get it either.
Has anyone else noticed that? Every single night, Milwaukee is on, and then the Sixers and Warriors is an 8:30 ABC game this weekend. What an idiot put that game there.
Your guess is
the Sixers get primetime all the time. Even I don't want to see
them. I think they make the schedule maybe too. They can't pivot. They can't flex.
I thought they did do chunks of the season. I don't know.
I would think. Why not, right?
They definitely can flex some games. I don't know if that one can be flexed, though.
Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Yeah, I mean, okay. Again, load management is a big impact. That's all I'll say. Like, I'm not criticizing players. I'm not saying that you mentioned Shea Gilgeous. That guy goes 100 miles an hour all game. He's great. But, Maggie, you have to admit, aren't you more interested in the playoffs than the regular season here?
Sean Gilgeous-Alexander.
Yes. But, I think I'm more interested in the hockey playoffs than every game. I'm more interested in, I don't know, are we still going to be more interested in the college football playoff than we are? Like, that's just kind of the way sports is going. Ironically, the only season that I feel like I follow game by game, besides football, because there's only so many of them, but I follow baseball game to game more than hockey or basketball. I don't know why. Maybe that's a me thing. Bogusch is here with the latest.
Guys, things all of a sudden moving pretty quickly for Matthew Stafford and the Rams and Raiders and Giants. The veteran QB expected to meet with his current team later today about their future, and maybe that'll be a trade to Vegas or Jersey. We're told that Stafford's camp has discussed a 2-year deal with $90 to $100 million guaranteed with the Raiders and the Giants. The Chiefs will have Travis Kelce back for next season, and Pro Bowl guard Trey Smith expected to stick around through the franchise tag. That's worth $23.4 million, which would make Smith the highest paid at his position, passing Landon Dickerson. Take that, Philly. The Golden State Warriors were about to hit halftime, down by 17 in Orlando last night.
Curry, three-quarter court, lets it fly. It's good! He hit it! One dribble, one shot,
Curry from three-quarter court knocks it down. And if there's anything that might give you some life and some momentum heading into the locker room, it was that.
Tim Roy, not wrong. Curry would outscore the Magic by himself in the third quarter, 22-21. The Warriors rallied for a 121-115 victory and a 5-game win streak. Curry finished with 56 points, hitting 12 total threes. LeBron and Luka combining for 54 points, and the Lakers 111-102 win over the T-Wolves. LA now 14-3 since January 21st, and the Bucks down the Nuggets 121-112. Giannis 28 points, 19 rebounds, and 7 assists. Second straight night with a buzzer beater in the Big Ten. Just not another Hail Mary from behind half court like Michigan State hit at Maryland.
Finds Wolf to Burnett for the win. Got it!
That's it. Short and sweet on the Big Ten Network. Kamari Burnett, a wing three at the horn. Number 15, Michigan, sidestepping a home loss to Rutgers, 84-82. Women's number 3, Notre Dame, losing at home to number 24, FSU, 86-81. The Irish have dropped 2 straight, now tied atop the ACC with NC State. And on ice, Vegas outscored Chicago 7-5 after Edmonton lost its 5th straight 4-3 in Florida. The Golden Knights have a 4-point lead now on those Oilers atop the Pacific Division. And I should mention as well, Alex Ovechkin played last night, did not score. The Caps lost again as well, so he remains 12 goals shy of passing Wayne Gretzky for the most all time. Back to you guys.
Folks, thank you. Have you guys been glued to the Gene Hackman story?
Yeah.
We talked about it yesterday and what a icon he is, and just movies, sports movies, which comes more into our, sandbox. And, he's passed away at the age of 95. His wife also was found dead. She's in her mid-60s, and the dog. And we all thought yesterday, what a horrible story. Something tragic must have happened, carbon monoxide poisoning, something like that. But now it looks like they're saying, Bo, because I know we've been keeping up on the details of this, they said there was no signs of a gas leak. I think they might still have to do some toxicology reports, but some just bizarro details on this one.
Yeah.
Yet they insist no foul play, no foul play.
That's the weird part.
Yeah, but they've used the word suspicious in the filings to get, I don't know, warrants or whatever.
Yeah.
So because I guess it doesn't look like they all just passed out and died from carbon monoxide. Like the dog was in a closet.
Yeah, what's up with that?
And there were other dogs live running around the property. And Gene and his wife were separate. And they seem to be in different stages of death or
decomposition.
Decomposition
yeah,
after
the wife
the fact.
wasn't. Yeah.
And there were pills by her, so it's not doesn't seem
Space
as
heater near her head as well.
Oh, I didn't see that part.
I saw that. They said it could have been if she fell, say she passed out and fell, that could have fallen with her. Like a space heater could have accidentally fallen with her. But she also did have some prescription drugs they said were in her hand or something.
Which again, I guess if she did just fall
Faint,
over and die, she
yeah.
could have had them in her hand and they
Sure.
would have been next to her. But it just,
And
now
he was
it's
in the
weird.
mud room, right? So he's by the door and she's in a bathroom.
And they did say that it looked like he did fall suddenly. I don't know what that means, if if things pulled off the wall with him or he fell onto something. But yeah, it's just, it was already weird and eerie. Now it's even more so.
So wait, can they, this is dumb, not like you guys, though, can they just measure to see if there was carbon monoxide? Why is that ruled out? It still sounds, everything you described sounds possible.
I don't know if you look a certain way, if you die of carbon monoxide poisoning, but it said there is no obvious signs of a gas leak.
Right, so they obviously could do an autopsy and
Yeah.
we'll figure all this out.
No, we will, but still just really sad. And there was another sad detail I thought of Gene Hackman's daughters, who say that they have a really close relationship with him, but said they hadn't talked to him in months.
And no one had seen them, Gene and his wife, for 2 weeks, apparently.
Yeah. Yikes.
So this might not have been, whatever happened might not have been a new thing that happened either.
Man. Just hope that people didn't suffer,
He was 95, so led a great life.
But she wasn't.
The other-
She was only 64, right?
I think the thing about the dog being in the closet is what I can't get
It's
over.
weird.
And but by the way, we don't know if the door to the closet was closed. I don't know if I saw that detail.
Yeah, that's I'm not sure.
Because a closet, there's all different types of closets. You can have a walk-in closet that is
More like a room.
Yeah, I mean, I remember I did a radio show with Bart Scott, who's a former linebacker, and we figured out that the size of his closet was the size of my entire apartment. It was 1,100 square foot walk-in closet that he shared with his wife. Was the size of my entire apartment.
I wish I was rich.
Yeah. But anyway, so not all closets are created equal.
Right.
So it could have been, but it just was an odd detail.
Oscars this weekend too, so there's gonna be a lot of buzz about
nice
this.
segue.
Yeah.
Well, I'm thinking they
No, I'm
probably have to
saying,
do a big tribute to him,
gonna
right?
have
No, they already like spelled out their plans. I think there's gonna be a separate tribute to Gene Hackman on the top of the normal
In
little song.
memoriam.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was not a segue. It's part of the story, dude.
I didn't know where you were going with it.
No, I mean like everybody's gonna be talking about Gene Hackman. It's gonna be like the topic of the whole thing.
Two-time Oscar winner and what, a 5-time nominee?
Yeah, I'm assuming very popular in LA.
Yeah.
It feels like to me.
I forgot when we were talking yesterday about his credit list.
Mm-hmm.
He was good in Birdcage too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we
we
mentioned
mentioned
it.
that.
We mentioned it, yeah.
I mean, everyone knows it starts and ends with The Firm.
After in the non-firm category.
I can't believe you don't like The Firm. It's Tom Cruise.
I like the book.
He's
the movie
running
is average.
a classic running Tom Cruise scene.
Well,
I mean, it's not.
You end up in the Bahamas, weirdly. Like, The Firm
Wilford
rocks.
Brimley's involved.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, let's go to Rotten Tomatoes, see if America agrees. 76% on the critic meter, 64% on the audience meter.
Disagree with you guys.
No, but
It's okay.
I think the point, at least for me, was I would have never. I don't remember Gene Hackman being in The Firm.
No.
Fine movie. I think it was very different from the book. I remember that being like a controversy that it didn't really follow the book page by page. But like I would have never suggested that was a Gene Hackman movie.
I'm also surprised that he hasn't been in a movie since 2004.
Yeah, he retired.
Yep.
Yeah.
Was that Welcome to Mooseport with Ray Romano? What is the movie, though? Like, I think there's an answer, but I'll be honest, I don't think I've ever seen the whole thing.
French Connection.
French Connection, but that's like 50 years ago.
Yeah, it was in 70-something.
Hoosiers, I think, is close second.
Mm-hmm.
But Firm being third. No, maybe.
Perloff just looks at me and goes, you and I have very different taste in movies.
Unforgiven?
Yeah,
Unforgiven's a big one.
Yeah.
Birdcage, by the way, I agree. Birdcage, he's amazing. That's a great movie.
Everyone was good in that movie.
Well, we're about to do our. Have we announced what the bracket was?
don't
We haven't
say
announced
yet.
it?
Don't say.
Yes, we have very, very different tastes. Very different tastes.
And being part of that conversation for the first time yesterday, there's going to be a lot of controversy and confusion about what qualifies and what doesn't.
I know.
It's going to be more.
We're talking about our
controversy.
bracket, by the way, the Maggie and Perloff March Madness bracket. We're going to do our traditional one with Nick in Texas, who runs the Pearl Jam season 4. Crazy. Okay. And that will be our traditional bracket, and then we have our silly bracket.
Okay.
What is going on?
So we've talked a lot this week about the movie Anora. I put it to you guys, who I haven't seen it yet. Is it going to win the Oscar on
Don't
Sunday?
watch it with your daughters.
Is it?
Please, promise me.
Does anybody have an Oscar prediction? Because I think it will win. I think it's going to be the Oscar winner, and not having seen it.
I think
a
it's
big,
going to
long
be
one.
It's going to be the Timothy Chalamet, Bob Dylan.
All right.
It's going to win.
I don't think it's going to win it. It hasn't won anything yet. I don't think it's going to win the Oscar.
All right.
Yeah.
Curve to the left. Brutalist.
I just for these Oscar movies, I never get around to seeing. Like I can't remember the last Oscar movie I've seen.
Well, if the Marvel
Argo,
universe
maybe?
didn't make one, then DJ, you're not watching.
Yeah, I mean facts.
You saw Argo?
I loved Argo.
That's
you loved
random.
Argo?
Loved that movie.
That's
Saw
so
it in
funny that
theaters.
there are a lot of movies like that.
I know. It's not that I'm like against them. I just don't get around to. I feel like I never hear about them until they're already good.
What about Dune Part 2?
I only saw Dune 1. I didn't see Dune 2.
You're not missing anything.
It's nominated for Best Picture.
I know. I wasn't a huge fan. The guy, Austin Butler, was awesome in it. But generally, yeah, the other thing, too, is like, you saw Nora. I thought you were going to be blown away by it. You're like, it's good.
You know what I miss? I miss, for some reason, even though we have streaming services, the fact that they don't show this stuff on like HBO or Showtime. Yeah. Like, I know it technically does exist, but like, that's ruined everything. That's how I used to watch movies. I just jump in.
Mid-movie.
Yeah, mid-movie. Didn't matter. Like, oh, okay, this movie is supposed to be good. I'll just watch it. Now that I don't do that anymore, it's like, I miss everything.
Yeah, Shawshank Redemption is always on TNT.
Pick it up anywhere.
Yeah, anytime. 100%. Maggie and I grew up the same way. Like, the cable movies defined our movie taste.
I know. Well, people like Manny, your daughter's age, Bogusch's kid's age, like, who walks into a movie mid-range?
Manny and 4 preteens.
I mean, spot the lie. Manny's closer to Perloff's daughter's age than he is to my age. So, you know. 855-212-4227. This is why we need Manny around here. Tell us what the young folk think. And because we
What's
we
happening
like
on
you.
Paw Patrol?
I'm not ordering a blow-up doll. M&P.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. .15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
I might swerve in that corner, whoa, whoa. Hold on tight, cause I tweaking this go.
Welcome back. Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. Pearl, more fallout from the Luka Doncic trade. So we've gotten yet another article talking about Luka's love of hookah and beer. And the quote was, people inside the Mavericks predict his basketball demise, highlighting a health history that, as some see it, will likely lead to catastrophe in the next 5 years or so. We are getting way out of line with this Luka stuff. I mean, catastrophe, basketball demise over beer and a hookah? Does anyone not remember that Larry Bird, they had to trade away his best friend on the team because they drank too much beer together? You don't think people change, evolve?
Beer and hookah, that's like my Gatorade.
This is keeping Manny alive.
The Mavs have lost all credibility.
Like, does he have a meth habit that we're not aware of? I mean, their catastrophe, basketball demise, like, it's getting way, way too crazy. Yeah. So that's one piece, and that was in The Athletic. Sam Amick wrote that, citing people in the front office or in the organization. Here's another one for you. Anthony Davis finally speaks, Pearl. Okay? So Anthony Davis spoke, and he was asked about whether he thinks, like, people knew about the trade, because he was totally blindsided that he was getting traded to the Mavs. And he says, and he said this to a newspaper, so there's no audio. He said, the front office has to do what it has to do, and obviously they're going to do what's best for the organization. So I don't know if I'll ever get the real story about any of it. I don't know what's true or what's not coming from upstairs. So my thing is, I'm going to go to my counterpart, who I've been running with, and see what's going on, get his reaction, and that's all it was. We had a conversation, that was it. Quote, everybody's saying nobody knew and all this other bleep. I just don't believe it. He's talking about LeBron. So LeBron will swear up and down, Pearl, that he had no idea this trade was coming. And Anthony Davis, the closest guy to him on the team, share an agent, he's saying that is absolute BS.
Yeah, I mean, that kind of makes sense. Like, I get where Anthony's coming from. Like, why would LeBron not know about that?
I think he definitely did. And it was funny. My first instinct was, of course, LeBron knew. Then I got kind of convinced, like, well, maybe he didn't know. I should have went with my first instinct the entire time. He definitely knew.
But there was an element of, like, everybody had to keep this quiet. So maybe, like, the less people that knew, because obviously there's something bizarre going on. Like, if word had gotten out that Anthony Davis and Luka might be traded, then other teams would have swept in and offered the Mavs 10 times what the Lakers were offering.
Sure, but why do people think LeBron can't keep a secret?
I don't know, because you're right, but I could see the argument for keeping the circle small, because LeBron shares every thought on his mind, mostly on social media. That's kind of why.
Well, that's usually just about the NFL.
Or anything else. Yeah,
I think though LeBron knows that, maybe he wanted this.
Oh, sure.
Right. So he would have every reason to keep it quiet, too. It could serve his interests. We saw how good it can look with LeBron and Luka the last game. Looked pretty awesome.
Also, LeBron owes the Lakers one because of Bronny.
Oh, I didn't think about that.
So, I mean, like, LeBron, the Lakers are like, well, we got to do this for the next 10 years. Are you on board? But that being said, I'm not totally convinced. Like, if I ran the Mavs and Lakers, I can see keeping this as quiet as possible.
No, they had to.
Because of that,
but I still think LeBron knew.
Nothing leaked. Like, nothing leaked anywhere.
I think the inner circle includes LeBron. Like, without a doubt. I think it's Jeannie Buss. I think it's Pelinka and LeBron. And maybe, I don't even know if Rich Paul knew. Maybe he didn't know.
Because he's Anthony Davis's agent, yeah.
But I think there's probably like there has to be like other minority owners and stuff into the Lakers. Like, I bet they didn't tell Magic. I bet they didn't call Phil Jackson and ask his thoughts on it. I don't think they expanded it out, is what I would guess.
Jay Moore, no. I mean, he probably overheard something, but he doesn't share the same bedroom with Jeannie Buss.
He lives on the first floor. She lives on the third floor.
Yeah, I don't know if Jay had access to that kind of information.
Thank you, E.J. Stewart. Thank you, Manny Rodriguez, Andrew Bogusch, Andrew Kaplan, Weedos and Coffee Drinkers. Guys were fantastic all week long. Have a good weekend. We'll have a full Combine recap on Monday.
Adult toy-shaped feet.
I'm not ordering a blow-up doll.